Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Reincarnated Dragon. Obtain 12 talismans at the beginning. Chapter 1. My dragon's true name is Caesar Fafnir Radon Nidhogg. A childish dragon language sounded in the dry and hot cave. After a while, the beginning of hell, the dark red little figure sighed. His name is Caesar. He is a reincarnated person. Now it's a dragon. I thought that my previous life was miserable enough, but I didn't expect that it would be even worse after reincarnation. Good news, transmigrate for one of the most powerful species on the continent, the red dragon, the boss of the chaotic evil camp. Bad news, he was abandoned by his parents and abandoned in the wilderness full of monsters. Although the red dragon is the most powerful five-color dragon species, when it was young, it was the delicious food in the mouths of monsters. Red light flashed between the dark red dragon scales. The whites of the eyes are black, and paired with the pair of scarlet vertical pupils, they exude an evil and dangerous aura. The dragon wings covered in mucus couldn't even take him flying to avoid danger. If a young dragon wants to learn to fly, it will take at least nearly a month until the dragon's wings are strong enough before it can fly. But it is always better to become a dragon that inherits the dragon's heritage than to become a dragon beast. At least his potential is high. Caesar looked around and saw that the remains of the broken dragon egg had already been eaten by him. This was the instinct of the dragon when it was born. It is also the first food for the dragon after birth. The purification that is full of dragon egg liquid cannot be taken advantage of by others. Except for the dragon egg that hatched accidentally, there was no trace of other dragon eggs. At this moment, he was deep in an abandoned cave. Combined with the situation that one still exists. It should be that the original dragon mother mistakenly believed that she was stillborn, and some accidents forced her to abandon her. Otherwise, if the dragon egg cannot be hatched, it will be eaten by other hatched baby dragons or mother dragons. Nishizawa would never survive the day of hatching. Now Nishizawa's whole body and tail are just over 1.5 meters tall. A few random monsters can take him down. Fortunately, with his dragon heritage, Nishizawa does not need to practice. He is born with hunting skills. The premise is that he needs to find prey that he can defeat at present. Ding! It is detected that the host reincarnated into a different world and became a red dragon. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Evil Dragon Growth System. Closing square bracket. Evil Dragon Growth System. Caesar was stunned. How could this voice not be familiar to him? Dark blue. Add a bit. Name: Caesar Fafnir Radon Nidhogg. Race: Red Dragon. Faction: Chaotic Evil. Life: 500. Strength: 15. Defense: 10. Equipment: none. Magic value: 300. Ability: Fire Breath, Bite, Fire Damage Immunity. Magic: none. Evil Point: none. While watching the system panel, Caesar also figured out the rules of the system. The so-called Evil Dragon Growth System. He just needs to do various evil deeds to gain evil points. Evil points can be used to extract abilities and add points to your own attributes. Ding! It is detected that the host has not obtained evil points yet, and a gift package for newbies will be sent. Do you want to enable it? Closing square bracket. Turn on. In this dangerous wilderness, if Nishizawa didn't have the ability to accompany him, he wouldn't dare to go out at all. It would be safer to use the system to give your novice gift packs to enhance their strength first. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the qualification for 10 consecutive draws. Do you want to enable 10 consecutive draws? Closing square bracket. Smoke. Next moment, Caesar seemed to be in a starry sky, with streaks of colorful light emerging above his head, gradually coming towards him. White, green, blue, purple, gold, crimson. Congratulations to the host for winning the white item, a pack of tissues. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for winning the blue item, a certain goddess of wisdom is transparent and fat. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for winning a blue item, 100 pieces of fine medieval armor. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for winning the green item, an upgraded version of the painkiller potion. Closing square bracket. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for winning the golden item, a set of 12 talismans. Closing square bracket. 12 spells. Zeiss felt happy. This must not be something belonging to a certain holy lord. 12 talisman. one of the abilities of Demon Saint, the evil from fire. Closing square bracket. Read the introduction carefully. He finally determined that these were the 12 talismans possessed by the Holy Lord. After obtaining the 12 talismans, he suddenly changed from a hell start to a Tianyu start. The only limitation is that it seems that he needs to consume magic points to use the spell. Fortunately, it's harmless. As a red dragon, he doesn't have much else but a lot of magic power. He was just born and already had 300 magic points. And the magic value can also be increased with evil points, so as he acquires evil points in the future, there will be absolutely no shortage of magic points. Therefore, some minor flaws caused by the spell can be almost ignored. It's this transparent fatness of a certain goddess of wisdom. This makes Caesar a little confused. Are there any transparent ones? Thinking of this, Caesar took it out from the system space. Spreading his crimson claws, he could feel something appearing in his palms, but he couldn't see it. Transparent fat comes from Aqua, the goddess of wisdom. With the fat, you will cause special attack damage to undead creatures and demons. Closing square bracket. Quote. Caesar fell into thought. This thing, if you say it is useful, it is still useful. If you encounter an undead enemy in the future, this thing is indeed powerful. But if you say it's useless, it really has no effect. After all, it only works on undead creatures and demons. If it could cause special attacks on all enemies, Nishizawa would still feel that it would be somewhat useful. It seems that being able to draw 12 talismans is my greatest luck. Try it first. The power of the 12 talismans was integrated into Zaiza's body. A powerful force gradually emerged. Whether it was Caesar's own illusion, he suddenly felt that he seemed to have become much stronger. Even the dragon wings on his back, which originally took half a month to stretch out, can now be fully stretched out. However, after possessing the 12 talismans, Caesar no longer needs wings at all to fly. Chicken plus rabbit equals flying. Or supersonic flight. In order to see how much power of the talisman I can exert at this moment, and at the same time become proficient in the application of the talisman. Caesar turned around and pointed at a rock in the lair, and slowly opened his mouth. The red dragon itself has its own flame breath. With the blessing of the explosive power of the dragon spell, he wanted to see how much more powerful it could be. A trace of white-hot air symbolizing the smell of sulfur came out of Nishizawa's mouth. A dazzling red light gradually lit up in his mouth. The blazing heat rises from the dragon's mouth. The next second. Roar. Boom. The solid rock fell apart instantly. Under the influence of the dragon talisman, the original flame attack was directly transformed into a blast attack, and the damage was greatly increased. Caesar took a look at the panel and saw that he had lost 10 magic points. It takes a few breaths to recover. The dragon brings back mana. Unlike humans or other creatures, it takes a long time to recover after the magic value is exhausted. Nowadays, his self-protection ability has improved a lot. As long as he doesn't encounter any too powerful monster, even if he can't defeat it, he can definitely escape by running. Among the creatures on this continent, flying monsters are relatively rare. Most of them are land monsters and do not have the ability to fly. Caesar raised his chest and raised his head, and walked out of the empty cave with his relatively strong limbs. Outside, the dazzling sunshine fell on Caesar, and the scorching radiance not only did not make Caesar feel hot, but made him feel extremely comfortable. Red dragons prefer this dry and hot environment. After sunbathing comfortably, Caesar focused his attention on the towering forest not far ahead. There was no food possible in this hot, dry rock mass. The only way to get food is to go to the resource-rich forest. But now food is no longer a necessity for Caesar. Because the horse talisman of the 12 talismans can eliminate his hunger, and the dog talisman can keep his body in peak condition and immortal. So even if there is no food, as long as the magic value is sufficient, Caesar does not need to consume food. Coupled with his own blue recovery, he can barely be regarded as a perpetual motion machine. But if you want to grow up quickly, food is still essential. Just don't worry about starving to death. Shaking the dragon's head, Nishizawa jumped down from the high rock wall, then spread his immature and short dragon wings and slid downwards. This quiet forest will welcome its owner. In the forest. 5 dark brown wild boars covered with long hair are burying their heads in the land, trying to find food from it. These 5 wild boars range from big to small. The largest one weighs 600 kilograms, and its pair of exposed tusks is frightening. Not even a black bear or a tiger would dare to easily provoke such a behemoth. Therefore, this wild boar was extremely arrogant, not wary of its surroundings at all, and just kept its head buried in the land. Swish! At this time, there was a rustling sound in the bushes not far away. The 4 surrounding wild boars hurriedly raised their heads and leaned toward the largest wild boar leader for protection. Seeing this, the wild boar leader made a grunting sound, trying to scare away the enemies hiding in the bushes. Aha! The next second, boom! The wild boar leader, weighing 600 kilograms, flew up out of thin air, flew upside down and slid to the ground about 10 meters away. Snort! The other wild boars were frightened. One by one, they fled around in panic. What's surprising is that the wild boars seemed to have encountered ghosts, falling to the ground one by one out of thin air, with their heads bloody and disemboweled. Until all 5 wild boars present were dead. The figure stained with blood slowly revealed its outline. It was Caesar who used the snake charm to become invisible. I have to say that when hunting with a snake charm, you don't have to worry about your prey escaping. Eyes can be deceiving. Step by step, he walked up to the wild boar leader. The wild boar leader, who was physically stronger, did not die on the spot. Lying on the ground dying, his dull eyes showed fear after seeing the young dragon's eyes. Phew, the sharp dragon claws are still young, but they can already tear the skin of a wild boar. Caesar licked the corners of his mouth, lowered his head and began to devour. As an inheritor of the dragon's heritage, he was not disgusted by the bloody raw meat, but rather found it to have a different flavor. Perhaps this is also the impact of the body after reincarnation. Hunt 5 wild boars. Gain 5 evil points. Closing square bracket. Is there something evil about hunting wild boar? Caesar was stunned. So as long as you take away the lives of other creatures, does it count as doing what a dragon should do? It's just that these 5 points are a little lacking. If you add all the magic points, it will only add 5 points. It is not as good as returning mana by yourself. 10 consecutive draws require a full 2,600 points of talent, which means killing 2,600 wild boars or other creatures. It seems that hunting is not the main source of evil points. Otherwise it would be a waste of time. The meat of a wild boar leader can be digested quickly under the red dragon's furnace-like stomach. After eating these foods, Caesar could clearly feel that his strength seemed to have increased a little. It should be the body absorbing the nutrients. Although hunting is extremely slow to obtain evil points, Nishizawa has no other way now. This is his current only source of obtaining evil points. For example, what the evil dragon wants to do is to build a clan and destroy it, but with his current ability, he cannot do it. The newly born baby dragon will only bring infinite greed to monsters and humans, instead of fear and fear. The growth of dragons is divided into young dragon, juvenile dragon, young dragon, adult dragon, mature dragon, old dragon, extremely old dragon, ancient dragon, and ancient dragon. The prime dragon stage is the peak period of all dragon statistics. After reaching old age, data in other aspects will decline. For example, speed and agility will become weaker, but magical attainments and strength will continue to become stronger. If you want monsters to follow you and build power, you need at least a young dragon. Or show enough strength to make monsters admire and fear you. With the 12 talismans in hand, Nishizawa relies on his current magic value to be stronger than the average young dragon. After all, the young dragon has mastered some magic, and Caesar has not learned it yet. This is a continent composed of magic and fighting spirit. Magic takes over. I can't build a strong clan, but I can learn from the green dragon guys and fool some monsters with low IQs. I should be able to do it. Caesar rubbed his chin with his claws, making a sound of steel rubbing against each other. He needs to figure out his current situation, so he must capture some monsters with brains to interrogate. And who said that powerful monsters are necessary to establish a clan? For him, being able to use it is enough. I wonder if there are goblins and kobolds in this forest. Nishizawa's figure gradually faded and became invisible. He wanted to take a good look at the environment in this forest. It is safer to fly invisible to high altitude. There is no way, the young dragon is alone, Shizawa must be more cautious. Normal dragons will not leave the dragon mother until they are young. A group of green, short and thin creatures were attacking a giant black bear, slashing the broken spears in their hands. Goblins are too weak. Coupled with the unity of other herbivores, this group of weak goblins had no choice but to take risks and hunt this dangerous black bear. Facing the siege of goblins, the black bear didn't panic at all, and its heavy black claws covered the approaching goblins. In an instant, they were like pebbles being thrown away, falling heavily to the ground, making the sound of broken bones. The death of several goblins quickly frightened the group of goblins out of fear. After a while, he turned around and ran away. The companions who stayed behind were directly abandoned by them. Before the goblin tribe gave birth to a large race and an elite, they could not even unite. Goblins retreat. The black bear was breathing heavily, and there were bloodstains on his body scratched by spears. Just when it was about to lower its head and eat the goblin corpse to replenish its strength, the black tiger takes out the heart. Phew! The hot dragon claws pierced the black bear's chest and scratched the black bear's heart. Only then did Nishizawa's figure finally appear. After the search just now, he discovered that there was actually a human town next to the forest. Judging from the size of the town, there should be powerful adventurers. Caesar decisively returned to the forest. The snake charm could only hide his body and make him invisible, but it could not cover his aura. The breath of a dragon is very special. It's easy to smell and feel. Unless the snake charm can be upgraded in the future, or he masters the magic of concealing the breath. Unexpectedly, when I came back, I saw this group of goblins hunting black bears. What a lowly and weak race. Not only could he not kill the black bear, he was even scared away by the black bear. It's really too weak. Fortunately, the gods saw that this race was pitiful and gave them some blessings to allow them to reproduce faster and prevent them from being killed and exterminated. Hunt the black bear and get 1 evil point. Closing square bracket. Better than nothing. Comma. Night. Dusk soon fell on this forest. A forest at night can be 10 times more dangerous than a forest in the morning. It is during the night that many hunters wake up and begin their hunts. But what these hunters don't know is that the mantis stalks the cicada and the oriole behind them. A red dragon shuttled through the night, ruthlessly harvesting the lives of monsters in the forest. These monsters don't even know how they died. I felt my neck get hot, and my eyes fell into darkness. Then I fell to the ground forever, losing my life. Name: Caesar Fafner Leyden Nidhogg. Race: Red Dragon. Faction: Chaotic Evil. Life: 500. Strength: 15. Defense: 10. Equipment: none. Magic value: 300. Ability: Fire Breath, Bite, Fire Damage Immunity. Magic: none. Evil points: 100. A little adds up to a lot. Looking at the rising evil points, Caesar did not use more points, but chose to hoard them first. Anyway, with the 12 talismans, he is basically invincible in this forest. Use the knight and snake charms, and then use the ox charms burst. Who can stop it? Time passed by just like that. In the blink of an eye. 1 week is up. Although Nishizawa has tried his best not to appear in front of human eyes, the traces of this large-scale hunting were still noticed by humans. Melee Town. Adventurers Guild. There have been a lot less prey in the Kasa forest recently. When I and other companions passed by, we found a lot of monster corpses. Could it be a goblin? Come on, do goblins have this kind of strength? I guess a certain monster race has developed. It's most likely a kobold. We have to suppress the growth of monsters, otherwise the town will be in danger. The reason why Melee Town can safely set up camp here. Except there were Imperial soldiers. Another more important point is that once it is discovered that monsters have a tendency to develop, an adventure commission will be issued immediately, allowing adventurers to encircle and suppress monsters to reduce the number of monsters. This way the development of monsters can be avoided. Monsters without a strong tribe pose no threat to human towns. The president received the news from the mayor and immediately issued an adventure commission. Encircle and suppress the monster group in the Kasa forest. With rewards, there will be motivation. The adventurers were all enthusiastic and motivated, put on their equipment, and headed to Kasa forest. A team of 4 or 5 people. Use the monster's ears to count and trade the ears for money. Casa Forest. Phew. Ah. A goblin's head was flying in the air, spraying blood. The adventurer dressed as a swordsman shook off the blood stained on the sword blade. Besides the goblin or the goblin, could it be that the goblin really did it? It's still possible. If some big species or sacrifice evolves, with the goblin's reproductive ability, it's really possible. The mage adventurer on the other side thought. Creatures like goblins are sometimes disgusting, but they are difficult to achieve and cannot become powerful at all, so they will be suppressed. It was as if he had suffered some kind of curse. Lint, what do you think? Where are the Lint people? When the mage adventurer just wanted to ask another partner. I found that one of my friends was missing. Wrong. 2 are missing. When did it disappear? Dirk, Lint, they all seem to. The mage turned around. I saw an unforgettable scene. Swordsman Dirk's body was lifted high in the air, his chest was pierced by a thick tail, and he was bleeding. The pupils had long since lost their color and turned gray. What appeared behind him was a dragon. The dragon, it's a red dragon. It's a red dragon. Although Nishizawa has not grown up yet, he is still in the hatchling stage. The mage adventurer still recognized Caesar's race at a glance. That is synonymous with evil in this continent. Red dragon. A notorious creature of the chaotic evil alignment. Why is there a red dragon in Casa Forest? What the hell is going on? You're from the next town over, right? Caesar opened his mouth and spoke fluently in mainland China. There is no need to master the language of the dragon. It is something engraved in the dragon's inheritance. If you accept the inheritance, you can learn the languages of most species. A touch of dragon power put pressure on the mage adventurer. Especially when a companion is bleeding. His legs were trembling and he collapsed on the ground, stammering, Yes, I am an adventurer from Meili Town. Now he seems to know the truth about Casa Forest. I just don't know if I can get out alive smoothly. Bang! The swordsman's body was thrown aside casually by Nishizawa. After shaking off the blood from his tail, he slowly walked up to the mage adventurer. After keeping a safe distance, Nishizawa said, I saw a lot of humans. Are you all adventurers? Yes. Yes, Lord Dragon, we have no hatred. Please let me go. This is my sincerity. The mage adventurer suddenly remembered something. He hurriedly took out the coins from his pocket. There is copper, silver, and rare gold. Looking at the shiny money, Caesar's eyes lit up, his eyes full of greed. The greedy dragon loves these gold and silver treasures most. Even the love is greater than my own life. Caesar unceremoniously replaced his arms with his tail and took it from the adventurer. Put the gold coin in front of your nose and smell it. Caesar's face showed an expression of enjoyment. Feeling relaxed all over. It's like inhaling something wonderful, it's really wonderful. Is this what money smells like? After a final greedy look at the gold coins, Caesar quickly returned to the system space. Plunder the adventurer's money and get 10 evil points. Closing square bracket. 10 o'clock. Zeiss felt happy again. This is much faster than hunting. Yes, he is a dragon. Isn't grabbing gold coins the favorite thing of an evil dragon? Seeing the dragon accepting his gold coins, his face was still full of joy. The mage adventurer immediately said happily, Your Majesty Dragon, you have understood my sincerity, can you spare my life? I swear by the great goddess of radiance. I will never set foot in the Casa Forest again in this life. To show their sincerity, the mage adventurer also swears an oath to his god. Of course, you can go. Caesar waved his hand indifferently. Thank you, Lord Dragon. The mage adventurer said with great excitement. He even kowtowed to Nishizawa a few times. He turned around excitedly, already thinking about ways to deal with Caesar in his mind. If you spread the news about the existence of the red dragon hatchling in Casa Forest, you will definitely get rich rewards. Red whelp, it made me so embarrassed. When I spread the news and you can't escape, I must regain my dignity. Just when the mage adventurer was thinking about his bright future. Snapped. The sharp claws instantly grabbed his head. Well, the mage adventurer subconsciously wanted to shout, but was wrapped tightly by the claws and could not move his tongue. Then he turned around and looked ahead in horror. As we all know, red dragons never keep their promises. You actually believe in the promises of a red dragon. You are so stupid. Don't go back to the human world. Just sleep here. Boom. The mage adventurer's head was crushed in an instant, and blood shot out, making the scales on Caesar's body become even brighter red. How could he possibly let this human go back? Once humans know that there is a young dragon here, he must leave here as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will definitely attract powerful beings among humans to hunt and pursue them. Caesar licked the blood from the corner of his mouth slightly. It seems that the hunt was too fast and attracted human attention. The death of organisms on a large scale will indeed arouse human suspicion. I heard this group of adventurers discussing goblins before. In this case, let's push the goblin out and take the blame. Cheat adventurers and get 10 evil points. Closing square bracket. Just as Caesar thought, as long as he behaves according to the evil dragon's behavior, he can gain evil points. It's much faster than just hunting. It seems that I want to be a noble evil dragon in the future, not just killing and killing. After spending a week in the Casa forest, Caesar had figured out where the strongholds of each race were. Goblin Lair. Just today. This nest has a new owner. Roar. Chi 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 chi. A giant dragon roughly broke into the lair, and the dragon's power that permeated the body made low-level creatures like goblins tremble. Arriving at the deepest part of the lair, a slightly larger goblin was crawling on the ground. Great, dragon, please don't be angry. The goblin elite was trembling and spoke in stumbling goblin language. Creatures like goblins didn't even know the common language before they evolved into large species and sacrifices. Fortunately, Caesar can understand goblin language. Caesar said, "Dirty green bug, your good luck has arrived. Rejoice, you are still of some use to me. This will be the highest honor in your life." The goblin elite raised their heads and looked at Caesar in fear, their eyes full of confusion. His foolish wisdom prevented him from understanding what Caesar meant. "I give you the blood of dragon as Caesar Fafnir Radon Nidhogg." Caesar pulled off a dragon scale from his body. A dragon transformation ceremony was performed on the goblin elite. Ah! The body of the goblin elite is expanding little by little. Wails of pain echoed through the nest. The other goblins tightened their necks in fright, hiding aside and shivering. After a while, a green and red goblin stood in front of Caesar. His original height of less than 1.4 meters suddenly increased to 2 meters, and his skinny body became strong and powerful. Dark red scales sprouted from the dark green skin. The yellow pupils were dyed with a trace of bloodthirsty scarlet. There was even a lizard-like tail growing out of his back, glowing red. Looking at his masterpiece, Caesar nodded with satisfaction. "The first time I converted a dragon transformation blood monster, it went surprisingly smoothly. It just consumes a bit too much magic value, reaching half of it. Dragons have the ability to transform into monsters. Dragon scales, dragon blood, essence blood. 3 phases. The higher the level, the stronger the transformed dragon monster. But transforming a monster into a dragon transformation consumes a lot of mana. Generally, only young dragons can master the transformation ability. Caesar is an exception. His evil points can replenish his magic points at any time. There is no need to worry about being attacked after all the magic points are used up. Great Master, the humble goblin offers you his soul. The dragon-turned goblin that evolved from dragon scales. My IQ has obviously gone up a notch. Facing the master who gave him a new life, the dragon-turned goblin knelt directly in front of Caesar. "Speaks fluent goblin language," Caesar said expressionlessly. "From now on, your name will be Gray. Go and conquer all the monster tribes in Casa Forest." Caesar had no intention of cultivating Gray, the goblin. "I just want to use Gray to attract human attention. If you want to become a dragon's henchman, you must at least be a monster of the level of a kobold or a jackal. Goblins are completely inadequate. It is your will, my great master," Gray said. Caesar has done all this. After taking a deep look at Gray, he disappeared into the dark cave. Bewitch the goblin, let the goblin evolve, and gain 10 evil points. Closing square bracket. 3 days later, Gray became a dragon-turned goblin in just 3 days. Conquer all the goblins in the Casa Forest. With the help of the huge power of the goblin tribe, the goblins conquered other monster tribes one after another in less than 2 days. There are no very powerful monsters in Casa Forest, so naturally he was easily controlled by the goblins. With a leader, the goblins can display twice as much combat power as before. The rapidly developing goblin group was immediately targeted by humans. Melee Town. Adventurers Guild. According to what other adventurers said, the people who pose a threat to the town are goblins. Hell, since when can even this kind of low-level monster pose a threat to us? I heard that a great goblin was born. Don't be afraid, the town will send out troops to eliminate them soon, just relax. I want to go too. I heard that killing a goblin costs 10 silver coins. So many, plus me. I learned that the target was a goblin. Many adventurers rushed to follow the regular army and went to Casa Forest to destroy the goblin lair. Under the attack of human adventurers and human armies, the goblin tribe led by Grey was defeated steadily. From conquest to decline, less than a week had passed. Let me go, you humans. Grey was pinned to the ground by 2 strong men wearing armor and unable to move. The tattered mace had long since been disarmed. A tall and strong military commander stepped on Grey's head, alienated goblin. No wonder goblins can develop into such a climate. Are you the leader of mankind? Let me go, human. I promise to lead the tribe out of here. Grey is afraid of death. He doesn't want to die. Finally, he was granted bloodline by the noble dragon and became a dragon turned goblin. I still have a long future. You absolutely cannot die here. The dragon turned goblin has learned common tongue. Leave, ugly monster, you have no chance. The commander drew his sword and slashed it down with a look of disgust. Phew, hot blood spurted out from the broken neck, and the body separated. After killing Grey, the commander left with the soldiers. The remaining goblins had no chance of success without a leader. Just leave it to the adventurers to hunt. After all, the adventurers also came to help and gave them some soup. Don't make people's journey go in vain. After the army left, Caesar slowly exited the invisible form. Looking at Grey's headless corpse, he said, "Sure enough, we shouldn't have had our hopes for goblins in the first place." Honestly, after giving Grey dragon transformation, he still expected some miracle to happen. If Grey can survive the siege of humans, it means that he still has some training value. It seems not now. Experienced this goblin lair siege operation. During this period of time, humans should no longer pay attention to the movements of the Casa Forest. Develop the goblin population, threaten human towns, indirectly kill humans, and gain 200 evil points. Closing square bracket. 200. Not bad. Caesar found himself looking more and more like the green dragon. Hide in the dark and use your brain instead of just using your strength. It is too slow to collect all 10 draws in a row. Nishizawa plans to improve his own data first. After looking at the panel data, he prepared to increase his magic value. The higher the magic value, the stronger the magic ability that Caesar lights up. Name: Caesar Fafnir Leyden Nidhogg. Race: Red Dragon. Faction: Chaotic Evil. Life: 500. Strength: 15. Defense: 10. Equipment: Goddess Transparent Fatty. Magic value: 1000. Ability: Fire Breath, Bite, Fire Damage Immunity, 12 Talismans. Magic: None. Evil points: 150. Caesar did not consume all the evil points, but kept some for emergencies. The resources of Casa Forest are quite rich, and Caesar will not leave here in a short time. Now his magic wand has reached the juvenile dragon stage and has the ability to learn to carve magic. As a red dragon, the first thing to learn is naturally fire magic. A red halo appeared in front of Caesar. The reflected red light hit the young dragon's face, like rising fire, dazzling and eye-catching. There are thousands of dragon magics, all of which are engraved in the dragon's dragon heritage. As it grows, the magic within the dragon's heritage will be opened to the dragon one by one. But this does not mean that dragon magic can be learned 100%. If you want to learn and master it, you ultimately have to look at the dragon's own talent. This is equivalent to having an encyclopedia. How much knowledge you want to learn from it depends on your own talent and efforts. Now the magic value of 1000 is only enough for Nishizawa to activate a ring of magic. Among the many magics, he chose a fire magic. Fire element summons. As the name suggests, it can summon fire elemental monsters from the fire elemental plane. The fire element is a monster formed from pure fire. Except for his extremely low IQ, his other statistics are very good. It just so happens that Caesar is short of subordinates now, so the fire element is a good choice. Decide on the magic you want to learn. Caesar began to use his mental power and follow the steps in the dragon's inheritance to inscribe the fire element summoning magic into his own magic aperture. As long as the engraving is successful, the magic can be released as desired in the future. At the same time, dragon magic is not as complicated as human magic. There is no need to chant spells, let alone shout magic names. Come whatever you want. The prerequisite is that you have taken control of the society. Perhaps because of Nishizawa's reincarnation, his mental strength is very good, and he successfully imprinted magic on the first try. Success. Caesar looked happy. I thought I had no magical talent, but in the end I had to use evil points to learn. I didn't expect that I still have some talent. By consuming a certain amount of evil points, you can automatically learn this magic. This is a new feature that Nishizawa has just discovered. But save if you can. If you can learn successfully, what else do you need to spend evil points on? You must know that every bit of evil now is hard won. Fire elemental summons. Caesar whispered softly. Next moment, lines of scorching flames rose around Nishizawa, outlining human figures. Unlike humans, fire elementals have no legs on their lower bodies. The storm formed by the flames supports the body of the fire element to walk. After consuming 100 magic points, Caesar summoned 10 fire elements. It seems that the summoning of a fire element requires 10 points of your own magic points. No wonder those powerful dragons like to summon creatures to strengthen their momentum when conquering the opponent's territory. This amount of mana consumed is nothing but a drop in the bucket for a dragon that has grown up in the late stage. Name: none. Race: fire element. Faction: absolutely neutral. Life: 100. Strength: 10. Defense: 8. Equipment: none. Magic value: 100. Ability: lighting, physical damage immunity. Magic: fire. The stats for the fire element are pretty good. It also has the ability to be immune to physical attacks. Because fire elements are elemental creations and have no entities, ordinary physical attacks cannot harm them. But if you attack with the water element, it will cause a fatal blow to the fire element. Master of Fire, please tell me your will. The fire elements all looked at Zeiss and said respectfully. In their eyes, Caesar is their master. Caesar shook his head. He didn't have any orders, he just summoned these fire elements to come out and take a look. Tail flicked. Cancel the magic. This group of fire elements disappeared in front of Caesar, waiting for Caesar's next call. Fire elementals are absolutely neutral monsters. Whoever calls them, they serve. The threat to humanity is temporarily resolved. Caesar will continue to earn evil points. The evil points of the goblins before inspired him. Maybe he could continue to find a spokesperson, let the monsters evolve, and invade human towns on his behalf. In this way, even if it fails, there will be no loss for him. The dragon scales consumed are not worth mentioning, I have plenty of them. The dragon scales that were pulled out were imprinted with the horse charm, and new ones would soon grow. It's basically endless. If he was afraid that humans would discover that this was a dragon, Caesar even wanted to use dragon blood and essence blood to evolve the monster. Dragon transformation species evolved with dragon blood and essence blood will have obvious dragon transformation characteristics. It will be immediately obvious that he is infected with the blood of dragon. The previous Goblin Grey was only given the dragon scale transformation and did not have many dragon characteristics. At most, it just grew a tail and scales. Lizardmen also have this. It would only be mistaken for the offspring of a goblin and some kind of red lizard. I won't guess in the direction of the dragon. Nishizawa expertly turned invisible, unfolded his dragon wings and flew towards the rock wall where he was born. There is an unexplored area there. Maybe that monster can bring you some surprises. The goblin lair was wiped out, and the people of Melee Town laughed and held a party specially to celebrate this victory. The priests of the church made remarks, saying that thanks to the blessing of the goddess of glory, mankind can defeat the monsters and resolve the crisis. Although this approach makes many people dissatisfied, after all, it is everyone's credit. What does it have to do with this goddess? It's been a long time since even a miracle came. However, since the Glory Church is the belief of most people, they dare not say anything more. I can only express my dissatisfaction secretly in my heart and corners. What they didn't know was that the real culprit was a newly born red dragon. Rock wall. Return to the nest of your birth. Caesar lay comfortably in the hot groove. This is an abandoned dragon's lair. It is the natural home of the red dragon. Caesar simply settled here, and used his fire breath to turn the rock into lava, which became his big bed. In the empty lair, there was only Zeiss, the young dragon. In 1 week, Nishizawa will officially enter the baby dragon stage. It is worth mentioning that, with the horse and dog charms, he does not have to sleep like other dragons. Skulls of prey hung on the walls. After killing these prey, Caesar pulled out their skin and flesh and used their skulls to make decorations to decorate his lair. Lie comfortably for a while. Caesar stood up and left the nest, going around to the back of the nest. Behind rock wall. Different from the lush foliage in front, this place is filled with a stinky smell. Even Caesar, the red dragon, felt the stench. It smells so bad. It turns out this is a swamp. No wonder it smells so bad. Caesar suppressed his nausea, floating in midair, looking down at the black swamp not far ahead. The stench of rotting animals floats on the dark swamp, and countless mosquitoes and flies make their homes here, flying over the swamp. If it were those guys from Black Dragon, they would probably consider this place a perfect home. Caesar slowly landed on the bank of the swamp, frowning and said, "It really stinks, only those black skeletons would like it." Look around. Nishizawa, who felt that there was no value here, just wanted to leave. Bubbles appeared in the black swamp, attracting Caesar's attention. Caesar stopped leaving and looked at the center of the swamp in confusion. Next moment, creatures with stench all over their bodies emerged from the swamp. They are as skinny as wood, with skin and flesh covering their bones, making them look like skeletons walking on land. The cloth hanging on the body has been corroded for many years, barely covering the key parts. Some are even naked, but the lower body had already rotted away and disappeared. His eyes were glowing with green light, staring intently at Caesar, the red dragon. Ghoul, we actually encountered him in a place like this. Caesar was a little surprised. Ghouls are medium undead creatures. The general height is no different from that of humans. This creature relies on devouring carrion. If there is no carrion, it will also prey on living animals. Because of the curse of the undead monarch, the ghouls never feel full no matter how much food they eat. Therefore, it will always be hungry to eat, and it will be on the way to hunt for life. The immortal body of the ghoul can keep the body from being corroded by time and continue to move forever until it is eliminated. This creature has extremely low IQ, almost no intelligence at all. Name: none. Race: ghoul. Faction: chaotic evil. Life: 100. Strength: 8. Defense: 10. Equipment: none. Magic value: 0. Ability: stench, bite. Magic: none. The statistics of ghouls are not high, but relying on the characteristics and quantity of immortality, it is easy to kill a flightless young dragon. However, the young dragon they faced was a unique Nishizawa. It should be said that they are very unlucky. Roar. The ghoul closest to the shore shouted a piercing howl. Shaking off the dirty water stains on his body, he ran towards Caesar. It was so hungry that it didn't care what kind of creature's eyes was. Only the immortal monarch has the ability to command ghouls. Looking at the ghoul coming towards him, Nishizawa calmly took out the goddess Fatji from the system space. Holy light, come down. Ding. In an instant, the transparent Pengji was lifted by Nishizawa with one hand, like a dazzling sun, blooming with divine brilliance. Ah, the ghoul hasn't gotten close to Caesar yet. Being eroded by the coming holy light in front of him, the pain caused the ghoul to wail. They tried to stretch out their hands to block their eyes, but it had no effect at all. The holy light seems to be the light that drives away the darkness, illuminating the eliminated darkness bit by bit. Let the corpses of the ghouls turn into ashes and dissipate between heaven and earth. Some of the ghouls hiding behind tried to get back into the black swamp to no avail. They were doomed to die when illuminated by the holy light. In less than a moment, all the ghouls in the black swamp were wiped out. Not even a corpse was left, only the grains of ashes indicating the existence of the ghoul. Use the goddess Pengchi to destroy the ghouls, achieve your own evil intentions, and get 100 evil points. Closing square bracket. Quote. Caesar didn't expect that this could also gain evil points. Besides, what does it mean to achieve one's own evil interests? He is a serious dragon. Speaking of which, this goddess's transparent body is so useful. Caesar looked at the invisible Pengji in his hand in surprise. Aqua knew that the goddess of water had top-notch exorcism abilities. Who would have thought that her transparent body is so powerful? It looks like it needs to be well preserved. Caesar returned to the system space. The next time he encounters a demon from hell, he can use it again. This is much stronger than any exorcism. The most important thing is convenience. Under Caesar's killing, the black swamp became a no-man's land. Caesar looked at the swamp gas floating on the swamp and thought of his identity as a red dragon. Maybe there is such a possibility. A shocking idea played out in Caesar's mind. He has a plan to deal with humans. Conquering Melee Town is what Caesar must do. Otherwise, the humans in Melee Town will always pose a threat to themselves. Casa Forest is already a very suitable place for one's own survival, and the outside world doesn't yet know how dangerous it is. It can be said that this land is the novice village most suitable for the development of Shizawa. But there is a powerful monster threatening him next to novice village, so what else can he do? Of course, eliminate him. Monsters that can live near the Black Swamp should be pretty good in terms of strength. The Black Swamp is not far away. A group of lizard-like monsters surrounded them nearby. Facing the Black Swamp ahead, their faces showed vigilance and fear, and they did not dare to take another step forward. We can't go any further, leader, the front is the territory of the ghouls. The ghouls have deprived us of our territory and the waters that should belong to us. Come on, that body of water already stinks. Stop arguing, we are no match for the ghouls, let's go. This is a group of lizard people. Medium humanoid. Their whole bodies were covered with natural green scales, as if they were wearing green heavy armor. There is also a bunch of furry long hair on the head. Clothes do not cover the body. The right hand holds a wooden club, the left hand is tied with a shield made of tortoise shell, and some lizard men hold spears. The strength of the lizard men is pretty good, more powerful than the ghouls. But this group of lizard men is no match for the ghouls. Because the number of ghouls is much greater than theirs, if they want to capture that swamp, they will almost have to lose more than half of their compatriots. It's just not worth it to the lizard folk. So the lizard men have been wandering around the Black Swamp hunting. Ghouls sometimes climb ashore and eat the remaining flesh and blood of the lizard folk. The leader of the lizard men, Kled, stands out at about 2.5 meters tall. He stands out among this group of lizard men. His order made the group of lizard men look at each other, and then plan to follow the leader back. Unable to occupy the swamp, the lizard men dug their own holes as nests. There are more than 100 lizard men, except for the old, weak, sick and disabled who are unable to fight, and there are only more than 60 lizard men warriors. When fighting a ghoul, it would be bad if other monsters take advantage of it. As the leader of the lizard men, Kled must be responsible for the tribe. Leave here, we have enough food for today. Leave, I don't think you can go anywhere. Just as Kuldang was about to lead his tribe and leave with today's prey, a voice stopped him. Who is it? Kled suddenly heard the sound and looked around, but couldn't see anyone. The other lizard men hurriedly assumed combat postures. But looking around, except for the dark woods, there was no trace of other creatures. Kled was extremely shocked. Only then did he remember that the other party was speaking dragon language. You must know that there are not many creatures in this continent who can speak dragon language, not to mention that I have already understood this forest well. Besides my own tribe of lizard men, which other monster can speak dragon language? Since it's not another monster, it's not his fellow lizard man either. Then the answer is, just when Kled was thinking wildly, Caesar appeared. He is your future dragon king. Caesar lost his invisibility and appeared calmly in front of Kled and the lizard men in the body of a young dragon. It's a dragon. No. Just a red dragon cub. Oh, great Samuel Anya, a dragon appears in front of us. Chief, what should we do? The language of the lizard men is draconic. Because the lizard people believe that the blood flowing in their bodies contains a trace of the dragon's language, that's why the ancient dragons engraved the dragon's language into their blood. In other words, lizard folk worship dragons extremely. They are the dragon's most loyal lackeys. The premise is that this giant dragon is powerful enough and not like the newly born dragon in front of him. It's incredible. Look, the embodiment of evil and domineering appears alone in front of us in the body of a young dragon. Cled looked at Caesar with surprised eyes. After repeated confirmation, he was very sure that there were no parents of this red dragon around. If it were any other normal adult dragon, he would have stepped forward long ago if he saw his child in danger, right? Besides, for such a huge dragon, there should be no place to hide. Leader, if we devour him, we can become real dragons. A lizard man said excitedly. They all dream of becoming dragons, not lizards hiding in this dark corner. Cled glanced at his men, then looked at Caesar. Young red dragon, where are your parents? A young dragon magically appeared in front of him. In case, some caution must be exercised. This is one of the top beings in the mainland, and he must be treated with caution even at a young age. I know what you are thinking, lizard, and I can tell you for sure that my parents are not here, and I don't need them either. As for why I appear here, it's very simple. I want to conquer you and make you a sharp blade in my hand. The dragon pupils in Zeise's eyes seemed to be flickering with flames. The dragon's power radiated had an effect on this group of lizardmen. The might of the giant dragon is most useful to this group of weak creatures. This is suppression from the bloodline. Feeling the power of this young dragon, the group of lizard people were even more surprised. Oh my god, is this the great dragon? Even with such a young body, the dragon tail produced makes them secretly afraid. How terrible it would be if this grew up. Your parents aren't around. Cled didn't understand why Caesar was so arrogant. Since there is no adult dragon around, how dare you appear in front of him alone? Still want to conquer them? Do you really think they dare not take action against the dragon? If this devours Nishizawa, even if they cannot become dragons, they can at least become a half-dragon species. Far more noble than the lizardmen. I know what you are thinking, lowly lizard man, I advise you to give up this idea, otherwise I will make it a nightmare, I promise. Caesar revealed his sharp dragon teeth. The thick dragon tail swayed slightly, kicking up a cloud of dust. Sensing Caesar's murderous intent, Cled restrained the greed in his eyes a little. Chief, what are you thinking? Why don't you kill him? Do we really want to surrender to this young dragon? Give me your orders, Chief. When other lizardmen saw that Caesar might take action, they all put away their contemptuous eyes and tightened their weapons. No matter what, there are dragons in front of them, so they must be extremely energetic. Young dragon, you want us to surrender to you, what can you bring to us? Cled pressed the shoulder of the man next to him, took a step forward and asked. Brings hope, brings a new future. Caesar raised his head arrogantly. Looking at the emerging young dragon in front of him, Cled seemed to see a rising red sun. He lowered his head and hesitated for a moment, then said, As you wish, my master. Pa-da. What, leader, you? Cled knelt down to recognize his master, leaving the other lizardmen dumbfounded. Why, the lizard folk didn't understand why their leader, Cled, wanted to surrender to this seemingly newborn dragon. If you are a young dragon or a young dragon, you will understand. There was a baby dragon that they couldn't understand. Is it really good to follow a dragon master who even needs to gamble on his growth? You must know that not all dragons can successfully grow from childhood to adulthood. Adult dragons basically walk sideways on this continent. But a giant dragon that hasn't grown up yet is very dangerous. Because the dragon takes too long to grow, even if the lizard man can live to be 100 years old, he will not live until the dragon reaches adulthood. It takes 500 years for a dragon to reach adulthood. Enough to last them 5 generations. Chief, he is just a young dragon. I know. I am the leader, kneel down. Cled suddenly raised his head, and the leader's unique leadership talent took effect. The other lizardmen could only follow Cled and kneel in front of Caesar. Conquer the lizardman tribe, the first step to establish an evil empire, and get 500 evil points. Closing square bracket. You did well, lizard man. This is the best choice in your life. Tell me your name. Caesar walked up to Cled. Seeing Zeise approaching, Cled hurriedly lowered his head to avoid being mistaken by the dragon as provoking him with his eyes. My name is Cled. Cled, that's a good name. Caesar nodded. Lizardmen are intelligent creatures, not as stupid as goblins. Almost all have names. Just as humans name their children, they name their offspring. If some lizardmen don't like it when they grow up, they can get one for themselves. The name is just a code name, the lizard people don't care. Tell me information about your tribe, Caesar asked. After becoming a dependent of the dragon, Cled let down his guard and told Caesar the clan information without reservation. This tribe of lizardmen is called the Blade-Tooth tribe. There are more than 100 lizardmen living in the Blade-Tooth tribe, and there are more than 60 lizardmen capable of fighting. Lizardmen are not as cruel to their companions as goblins and gnolls. Although some companions have lost their fighting ability, they will still keep each other in the tribe and will not expel or cannibalize each other. That's the beauty of the lizardmen. The Blade-Tooth tribe was originally the strongest existence in the Casa Forest area. Later, an unknown evil human summoned a group of ghouls to the Black Swamp and took away the Blade-Tooth tribe's territory. Due to the number of ghouls, the lizardmen of the Blade-Tooth tribe did not want to fight to the death with them. You can only give up the territory of your life. Until now I met the Master Nishizawa. Name, Cled. Race, Lizardman. Faction, absolutely neutral. Life, 180. Strength, 25. Defense, 20. Equipment, wooden stick, turtle shell shield. Magic value, 100. Abilities, tender, hammer, bite, leader. Magic, corrosive water. As the leader of the lizardmen, Cled is really strong. Without using the 12 talismans, it would be impossible for Caesar to defeat Cled. If he didn't have a system, Cled might actually be able to accomplish the dragon-slaying achievement. No wonder these lizardmen were so surprised why their leader Cled surrendered to them without a fight. This is not without reason. If you saw your boss kneeling in front of a baby without any fight, you would definitely be stunned and confused. The ghouls took away your swamp. Then I would like to congratulate you here. The swamp is back. Caesar didn't expect such a coincidence. This swamp was the former lair of the Blade-Tooth tribe. The swamp is back. You mean? Cled said in disbelief. That's what you think. Black swamp. Oh my god. Those ghouls are gone. Have the ghouls moved? Stop arguing, this is the master's credit. Master. Can master really do it? You are questioning master. I don't. Hearing that his companion was about to put a tall hat on him, the lizard man shrank his neck in fright. In any case, Nishizawa is now the master of the Blade-Tooth tribe. How dare they make mistakes? This is the class distinction among monsters. No matter what Caesar's strength is, if the leader surrenders, they should listen to Caesar's words. Unless a lizard man jumps out and challenges Cled to the boss now. Fight for the position of leader. But this is impossible. No lizard folk will challenge Cled, he is too powerful. Master, did you deal with the ghouls here? Cled looked away in surprise, turning his head to look at the young dragon's eyes. Unimaginable. This small body can kill so many ghouls in the Black Swamp. It's definitely impossible for a ghoul to move. Otherwise, they would not have occupied the territory of the Blade-Tooth tribe for hundreds of years. Cled couldn't figure out how a baby dragon could destroy ghouls. As you can see, a mere group of ghouls is no match for a dragon. When Caesar said this, he felt a little more powerful. Cled felt oppressed. While answering Cled, he also reminded Cled that his strength is not as simple as you think. Of course, how can a filthy, stinky creature from the lower world be the opponent of a noble dragon? I have no doubt about this. Cled had no doubt he was there. The facts are before our eyes. Now the ghouls just disappear. Soon, under Cled's arrangement, the other lizardmen of the Blatafang tribe moved back to the Black Swamp one by one. Without the ghouls, the stench of the Black Swamp is somewhat reduced. At least it's not as smelly as before. The lizard people looked at their new master curiously. It's unimaginable that the leader and the warriors just went hunting and brought back a dragon master. Cled, I am here, great master. Do you want to become stronger? Become stronger. Think. Cled's breathing became rapid, and his master suddenly asked him this question. Could it be that he wanted to bestow himself with noble dragon veins? I am still in the young dragon stage at the moment, and I have not even reached the young dragon stage yet. The dragon transformation given to you is very weak, but it can also improve your strength. Nishizawa is a young dragon. There aren't many improvements that can be brought to Cled. When Nishizawa reaches adulthood, his dragon transformation ritual will be even more powerful. I don't care, master, your reward is the greatest honor to this humble servant like me. Cled knelt before Caesar, longing for the dragon's reward. I hope you don't disappoint me, Cled. Caesar pulled off one of his own dragon scales. Under the scorching looks of other lizard folk, the reward was given to Cled. Holding the dragon scales in both hands, Cled's whole body trembled with excitement. In the name of Caesar Fafnir-laden Nidhogg, I grant you the noble blood of the dragon. The dragon scales in Cled's hands became extremely hot. It instantly melted into red water and flowed all over Cled's body. The scorching heat made Cled moan in pain, and waves of hot white mist floated around his body. Click. The crisp sound of broken bones made Cled's body gradually grow larger in the white mist. These changes make other lizard people fear and love them. I am afraid of the pain of evolution, but I love the power that evolution brings. The screams lasted for about half a minute and then gradually dissipated. Immediately afterwards, a tall black shadow appeared in the white mist. Call. The huge wings flapped the white mist, revealing Cled's current appearance. From the original height of about 2.3 meters, he suddenly grew to 3 meters, becoming a little giant. The green scales were dyed crimson, turning red and blue. Strong and powerful muscles bulged under the scales, and there was even an illusion that the scales were about to explode. The most important thing is that a pair of red and green wings sprouted from Cled's back. Has the ability to fly. The changes in Cled's body aroused the envy of the surrounding lizardmen. Although they often claim to have dragon blood in their bodies, the leader of Cled at this moment truly possesses dragon blood. Cled felt the surging power in his body and was extremely excited. His claws were clenched tightly into fists. I wish I could lead the tribe to kill those group of ghouls now, but it's a pity that all the ghouls have been killed by their masters. Thank you for your gift. My master, your servant Cled will never forget your gift. I will become the sharpest sword in your hand. Cled has now officially become Caesar's most powerful subordinate. Name, Cled. Race, Dragon Lizardman. Faction, Chaotic Evil. Changes with the Master's camp. Life, 300. Strength, 50. Defense, 35. Equipment, Wooden Stick, Turtle Shell Shield. Magic Value, 300. Abilities, Tender, Hammer, Bite, Leader, Fire Breathing, Flying, Fire Damage Reduction. Magic, Corrosive Water. Cled's stats vary a lot. His strength exceeds that of Caesar by more than twice. But he still couldn't beat Caesar, and the power of the 12 talismans was beyond Cled's ability to deal with. What's more, Caesar still has a lot of evil points that he hasn't added yet. All for the sake of accumulating 10 draws in a row. This was one of the reasons why Caesar conquered Cled. He can't always solve problems by himself, he must have a strong subordinate to help him share the burden. Cled became a dragon-turned-lizard man. Strength can continue to improve. Cled's original strength was his limit, but now Cled can continue to grow. I'm optimistic about your future, Cled. Caesar's words. It makes Clee feel like a spring breeze, like nectar falling. It is very useful. Aware of the eager looks in the other lizardmen's eyes, Nishizawa stood on a stone and said, anyone who devotes himself to the clan will be rewarded by the dragon. In an instant, all the lizardmen were ecstatic. It turns out that as long as they work hard, they can also get rewards from their master. I thought it was unique to the Cled leader. Master, are you sure you want to do this? Cled is not afraid that other lizardmen will steal his leadership position after evolving. Your Majesty is so young. Continuously using the dragon transformation ritual will consume a lot of magic power and energy. This is not suitable for the growth of the owner. No problem, Cled, Caesar said disapprovingly. Anyway, it's just the lowest level of dragon scale transformation. He can even draw dragon blood and essence blood. Anyway, it has a horse charm. It just consumes a little too much magic power. I hope to get something that increases the mana bar or restores mana in the future. Otherwise, it is not a long-term solution to keep using evil points to increase magic points. The lizard people of the Blade-Tooth tribe began to build nests. They used their claws and teeth to chop down nearby trees and build surrounding fences to ward off enemies. Caesar lives in the clearing at the very back of the swamp. Cled led the lizardmen and dug a huge cave for him. It was more than enough to accommodate his young body. Inside the lair, oh my god, master, where did you find these equipment? It's incredible. Cled was stunned. At this moment, there was a pile of fine armor reflecting light in front of him. Cled had never seen such exquisite armor. This level of armor can only be made by a group of ingenious humans and dwarves. Look at what the lizardmen of the Blade-Tooth tribe use. They were all tattered sticks and spears. I have never seen such beautiful equipment. It's just that these equipment are a bit too small for Cled. But it's just right for other lizard folk. You don't have to worry about how this came about. Give these armors to the lizardmen who can fight. Of course, this was what Caesar had drawn out before. I originally thought that these 100 pieces of armor would be of little use. I didn't expect it to be useful so soon. Just like that transparent fat. There are always unexpected uses. Yes, my master. Cled immediately called to the other lizardmen outside, and together they moved the pair of armors out. It's a pity that the Sabertooth tribe doesn't have enough lizardmen to fight. There are still more than 40 pairs of useless armors left in Caesar's system space. When the lizard man's armor wears out, replace it with new armor. With the new armor, the lizard men can exert much more power than before. Improve the strength of the Blade-Tooth tribe by a large margin. Nishizawa's clan is developing smoothly. Caesar didn't have to worry about food. There are abundant food resources in Casa Forest, so you don't have to worry about going hungry. The lizard people will serve him the freshest food on time. Lying in the lair, Nishizawa smiled as he listened to the system's evil point notification ringing in his ears. The creatures hunted by the Blade-Tooth tribe can also help him gain evil points. Just like what the original Goblin Grey did. The day soon came to a month later. After a month of development, under the leadership of Cled, the Bladafang tribe conquered another tribe of monsters, the Little Goblins. Master, we conquered a goblin tribe. Cled reported happily. Goblin, very good, Cled, you did a good job. Caesar said. Goblins, a group of small humanoid creatures. They are generally only 1.23 meters tall, just like rats hiding in the nests they dug. This is a group of monsters that are often enslaved by other powerful races. Because they are a group of qualified slaves, obedient and sensible, they are deeply loved by powerful monsters. Caesar was about to leave something to the goblins to do, but the lizardmen couldn't do it. By the way, Master, I have another gift for you. Chapter 11. Gift. Caesar was a little curious. Cled actually has a gift for himself. Please wait a moment, Master. Cled ran out in a hurry. After a while, he brought a female lizard man. The moment he saw the female lizard man, Caesar had a bad idea in his mind. Master, this is the strongest and most charming lizard man of our Blade-Tooth tribe. Her name is Fana. Cled introduced Fana with a smile. Master, my name is Fana. Fana, a female lizard man, nodded slightly to Caesar. Quote. I don't need it, Cled, take her back to me. A black line appeared on Caesar's forehead. Lizardmen don't care about their own aesthetics. Female lizardmen have a female-like figure and a softer appearance. How are they different from male lizardmen? Besides, I am still a young dragon. Cled asked himself what to do with this. Don't you need it? Master, Fana will serve you well. Cled hurriedly introduced Fana's advantages. Fana, who received instructions from the leader, also hurriedly recommended herself. What a great honor it is to be blessed by a giant dragon, something that no other tribe can only dream of. Long Hua became extremely weak in front of Lynxing. There is no comparison between the two. I told you I don't need it. Cled, don't take any initiative on this kind of thing in the future, do you understand? Outside the nest, Cled and Fana were blasted out by Caesar. Oh, how could this happen? Why does His Majesty look down on you? You are the most beautiful and strongest female warrior of our Blade-Tooth tribe. Cled looked at the beautiful Fana and sighed. For this matter, he deliberately selected the Blade-Ya tribe for a long time, and even secretly held a battle between female warriors. The purpose is to select female warriors with both strength and beauty. Who would have thought that the owner wouldn't like it? I do not understand. Fana was extremely disappointed. He was despised by his master. Yes, it's disgust. She didn't see any love in her master's eyes, only disgust. Okay, Fana, don't be depressed, it's just that you're not good enough. Cled patted Fana on the shoulder comfortingly. It seems that His Majesty's vision is very high. Even female lizardmen like Fana can't stand it. As expected of a dragon. It's just that this is a little different from the rumored dragon. Isn't it said that the noble dragon loves the females of other races the most? Clad was a little confused. Simply ignore it, comma. Located behind Black Swamp, there is a human village. A group of people carrying the flag of the glorious church entered the village one after another. Miss Lilia, the sun will set soon. We will rest in this village for the time being and then go to Melee Town tomorrow. What do you think? I have no problem, Green Knight. By the way, please tell the villagers that if they are sick or injured, they can come to me for free treatment. You are so kind, Miss Lilia, may the glory of the goddess shine down on you. They are the team sent by the Glory Church to promote the church. Lilia is a beautiful girl with long golden hair. He is a student of the saintess of the church and a candidate for the next saintess. Green is the knight captain who leads this team, mainly to protect the safety of Lilia, the saintess candidate. The people of the Radiant Church came into existence. For an ordinary village, this is simply a brilliance. The best housing and food were immediately arranged for Lilith and her party. After learning that Lilia was going to provide free treatment services to the people in the village chief even came to thank her personally. Thank you, Miss Lilia, for your kindness. May the light of the goddess spread to every corner of the continent and dispel the darkness. The village chief wiped the tears from his eyes and said, It's okay, village chief, I'm just doing what I have to do. Lilia seems to be a gentle girl. Sitting on the chair demurely, he motioned to the village chief to get up. Thank you, Miss Lilia, for your efforts. By the way, Miss Lilia, I heard that you and the knights are going to Melee Town tomorrow. The village chief asked. Yes, our goal is Melee Town. Lilia nodded. The destination does not need to be concealed. There is already a glory church in Melee Town. She was ordered to come to Melee Town just to consolidate the believers' faith. Then I need to remind you that you must take a detour. In the forest not far ahead, there is a smelly black swamp. There's a group of ghouls inside, it's very dangerous. The village chief told Lilia and the others the news. Some of the villagers who went hunting in the past were killed by ghouls. A man who survived ran back and told the truth. From then on, the Black Swamp area became a forbidden area for the villagers. Even if you can't eat meat, you absolutely can't go hunting in the Black Swamp. Otherwise, they will be dragged into the swamp by the ghouls and eaten. Ghoul, Lilia glanced at Green. I didn't expect there to be ghouls in a place like this. Ghouls generally exist underground and in the lower world. Those who appear outside are basically summoned by humans. Don't worry, village. The Green Knights are the Knights of the Church of Radiance. Ghouls are no match for them. Now that I'm here, I'll help everyone eliminate the threat of ghouls. Lilia vowed. It seems that killing the ghouls is not a difficult task for her. There are more than 50 knights guarding him, each wearing sophisticated equipment and weapons. In addition, the knights of the church all learn the magic of exorcism. For undead creatures like ghouls, wouldn't it just hit the muzzle of their guns? This doesn't have to be like this, Miss Lilia, ghouls are very scary. It's okay, village chief. We are knights of the Church of Glory, and Miss Lilia is a student of Master Saintess. With us here, no matter how many ghouls there are, it won't be a problem. What else do you want to say when you meet the village chief? Green, the knight captain, immediately interrupted the village chief. While showing the confidence of the church, he also wanted to show off more in front of Miss Lilia. It would be even better if he could win Miss Lilia's favor. I'm so sorry, Miss Lilia and Lord Knight, but it's a pity that our village can't give you anything. The village chief is really short of money. There will definitely be no problem for the church to face the ghouls. It's not a particularly powerful undead creature. Unfortunately, what these people don't know is that the Black Swamp has now changed its owner. It is no longer a dirty and smelly ghoul, but replaced by a noble dragon. Black Swamp. Improvements during this period. The swamp no longer smells as bad as before, and the lizard people gradually adapted to the swamp. In the human world, churches serve as beliefs and become the pillars of support for ordinary people. There are also monster tribes like the Blade-Tooth tribe. In the past, Samuel, the god of the lizard people, was the lizard people's belief. But after Caesar conquered the Blade-Yaw tribe, as the leader, Cled naturally changed the target of his faith to his current master, Caesar. The dwarf goblins dug holes under the supervision of the lizardmen and began to mine the minerals hidden underground. In order to protect the safety of these goblins, the lizard man also thoughtfully prepared a wooden safety helmet for them. There are not many goblins, only about 50. Each one is a treasure of the blade-tooth tribe and must be protected. Pieces of quarried iron blocks were pushed by goblins in small carts in an orderly manner and piled up in caves specially placed for minerals. Boss Cled, I have made a major discovery. A goblin ran out of the grass nearby in a panic. I found Cled, who was standing on the rock at the moment, monitoring the work of the goblins. A major discovery. Little goblin, let me tell you, you'd better make a major discovery, otherwise I wouldn't mind having a taste of goblins. Cled turned around and opened his bloody mouth. His appearance made the goblin shrink his neck in fear. I really made a big discovery, Boss Cled. There are humans coming towards our black swamp. The goblin waved his hands excitedly. Human, make it clear to me, little goblin. When Cled heard it was a human, he immediately became serious. Although the human race is very weak individually, even most humans are not opponents of beasts. But you have to admit that humans are smart. Coupled with some of humanity's impressive individual combat prowess, humanity is now one of the rulers of the continent. The Red Dragon clan, which has not yet fully developed, must be treated with caution. That's it, Boss Cled. The goblin quickly told Cled everything he knew. This goblin was spotted by a lizard man because of his good strength and intelligence. No longer have to be busy with boring and tiring mining. His mission is to patrol the surrounding territories with the lizard people. The goblin was patrolling well, but he suddenly felt a stomachache and wanted to go aside to deal with it. The lizard man had no time to wait for him. The goblin's nose is very sharp, and he will be able to catch up after a while. Because the place they were patrolling was on the edge of the forest. So the goblin accidentally walked out of the forest and came to the edge of the human village. I saw that I had strayed into human territory. The goblin turned around and ran without saying a word, and just as he was about to run, he noticed a group of humans wearing armor talking to each other. Immediately afterwards, I saw this group of humans sitting on horses, driving the carriage towards the black swamp. Now the goblin had no idea of going to the toilet, and hurriedly ran back to the black swamp. Tell Cled the news. After listening to what the goblin said, Cled said, I have to inform the master immediately. No, I heard you. Caesar suddenly appeared next to Cled without any warning. The sudden appearance of the red dragon startled the goblins and Cled. There is no such thing as a dragon like Nishizawa that can be tolerated. He often enters a state of invisibility and wanders around his territory silently. The movement here naturally easily attracted his attention. Owner, noble dragon. The goblin was so frightened that he knelt on the ground, his body trembling tightly against the ground. Cled knelt down on one knee to show his respect. The other lizardmen and goblins stopped what they were doing when they saw their master appearing. Goblin, tell me, are you sure these humans are coming towards the black swamp? Caesar asked. Yes. Yes, the noble dragon, as long as they don't change their direction, they will definitely pass through this swamp. Goblins crawl in the tunnel. Of this he was certain. In order to rush back as soon as possible to inform the news, he did not even contact his fellow lizardmen who were patrolling together. Well, you did a good job, Goblin. From now on, you will be the leader of this goblin group. Thank you, Master, for your kindness. The goblin was excited. Didn't you expect that by conveying a message, you could be promoted to the leader of the goblins? After hearing this, the goblin leader not far away showed a hint of loneliness on his face. His position as leader was lost so easily. It blows away like clouds of smoke. But these words came from the master's mouth, and he could not protest and could only accept it. Cled, let all the lizardmen in the Blatafang tribe who are capable of fighting put on their armor and prepare to face the enemy. Caesar didn't know what these humans were doing in the black swamp. But after hearing the costumes of the group of humans mentioned by the goblins, one can roughly guess that they are evil. Monsters and humans have frequent conflicts. No matter what, there's nothing wrong with being careful. I understand, Master, please rest assured that the Blade-Tooth tribe will definitely satisfy you. Cled's eyes flashed with fierceness. Just right. He has never experienced a real battle since he was transformed into a dragon by his master. He wanted to see how strong he was. I hope this group of humans don't disappoint themselves. Casa Forest, located on the road to Black Swamp. It's overgrown with weeds, and the dirt road is covered with growing shrubs. It seems like no one has been to this road for a long time. A knight slashed the blade in his hand. Cooperating with other knights, the original road was cut out. In the past, the knights of the glorious church must have spared their way because they were afraid of the trouble caused by the ghouls. But yesterday, Lilia had agreed to help the village eliminate the ghouls, so naturally she had to take this old road to reach the Black Swamp. Miss Lilia, at this speed, we may not be able to reach Melee Town before sunset. Knight Green rode his mount and came to the carriage to remind him. The forest is most dangerous at night. It's best if you don't wait and don't wait. The beautiful Lilia opened the curtain and said, "No matter what, we have promised the villagers that even if they are camping in the forest at night, we must eradicate this abominable ghoul." "I understand, Miss Lilia." Green nodded, and then said to the knight clearing the weeds and shrubs in front of him, "Get out of the way." "Let me do it." "Yes, Lord Knight." The knights stopped, knowing that their knight captain was about to show his strength. Buzz buzz. Green pulled out his sword, and the blade made a sword sound, just when Green was about to take action. "Humans, this is the territory belonging to the Blade-Tooth tribe, you have crossed the line." The ones who stopped the Knights of the Church of Light were the lizard people who were patrolling with the goblins. The patrol team consists of 5 lizard men in total. Seeing that the goblin hadn't come back from going to the toilet, they returned. After all, goblins are not very strong. If they encounter any powerful beasts, they may become their prey. Unexpectedly, he didn't see goblins, but instead saw a group of humans planning to break into the Black Swamp. As a warrior of the Blade-Tooth tribe, he is a loyal servant of his master. How could they just watch humans break into this place? Even if the opponent's number is more than 50, which far exceeds their current number, they will never back down out of fear. It's a lizard man. Guys, pick up your weapons and protect Miss Lilia. Ready to fight. The knights couldn't understand the obscure dragon language spoken by the lizards. Not all races know common tongue. The lizard men only know the local goblin and draconic languages. So they also can't understand human words. What did these humans say? How do I know where that goblin went? Not sure. The lizard people communicated, as goblins who like to trade with various races. Goblins learn many languages. This is why strong men want to capture goblins. They are born with many languages, so you don't have to worry about them not being able to understand your own words after conquering them. The only goblin who could help them communicate is still missing. The knights led by Green did not act rashly. Since 5 lizard men wearing equipment can appear here, it means that this should be the territory of the lizard people. This means that behind the 5 lizard men, there are many more lizard men standing. They were not worried about these 5 lizard men alone. The only worry is that if other lizard men come later, they will be in some trouble. Knight Green, please stop first. These lizard men may not have any malicious intentions. Just when the 2 sides were at war with each other, Lilia got off the carriage. "Miss Lilia, why are you down here? Please get on the carriage quickly. This is very dangerous." Green said worriedly. "Miss Lilia is just a healing priest with very few attack methods. They are no match for this group of lizard men." "I'm fine, Green Knight. Let me communicate with these lizard people. I know some dragon language." Dragon language is complex, but dragon language is very powerful. If you learn dragon language, you can secretly learn the dragon's magic. Therefore, many powerful humans will deliberately learn dragon language. As a student of Saintess, Lilia naturally learned dragon language. She understood some of what the lizard people just said. "Hello, lizard people, we are members of the human church. We have no ill intentions. We are here just to eliminate the ghouls in the Black Swamp," Lilia said truthfully. Seeing that there was no hostility on Lilia's body, and she was fairly fluent in dragon language, the lizard people let down their vigilance a little. "Humans, I don't care what you want to do. In short, you'd better leave here. This is the territory of our Blade-Tooth tribe. As for the ghouls you talk about, they have all been extinct long ago." The leader of this lizardman team stood up and said. Snort. If there weren't just 5 of them, there would be so much nonsense with this group of humans. They will definitely attack humans without hesitation. Are all the ghouls extinct? Lilia covered her mouth in slight surprise. All the ghouls mentioned by the village chief are actually extinct. Apparently, it was this tribe of lizardmen who did it. I didn't expect this group of lizardmen to be so powerful. The lizardmen do not have the means to specifically restrain undead creatures. What's wrong, Miss Lilia? What happened? Green stepped forward and asked. Lilia immediately told Green the news she had learned. Hearing that this group of lizardmen had the ability to destroy ghouls, Green raised his eyebrows and looked around more vigilantly. Being able to destroy the entrenched ghouls, it seems that this lizard tribe has a lot of warriors. There are only 50 church knights in total, and the majority of them are trainee knights. I thought there would be no danger in going to Melee Town. I just wanted to open the eyes of the trainee knights who had never seen the world. Who would have thought that they would encounter troublesome lizard people? Green said. Miss Lilia, in that case, let's avoid the lizard man's territory. It is not advisable to stay here for a long time. There will be trouble when the lizard man army arrives. Lilia nodded, then looked at the lizard man and said, we will leave here right away. Dragon language. Hearing that the humans were about to leave, the 5 lizardmen on patrol breathed a sigh of relief. There was no conflict, which was good for them. After all, just 5 warriors, how could they be the opponents of these 50 humans? Leave. When you step here, you have no chance to leave. At the same time, Lilia and Green just turned around. Figures of lizardmen emerged from the lush bushes around them. They were wearing brand new armor, and the sunlight fell on the armor, reflecting the cold light. The spear and wooden stick in his hand hit the tortoise shell worn on his left hand, making a beating like a heart, as if beating the hearts of Green and the others. So many lizardmen. No, it was their trap just now. They deliberately talked to us and dragged our companions to come. Lord Knight, what should we do? Don't panic, prepare to fight, and remember to protect Miss Lilia first. Green quickly turned over and sat on the horse, signaling Lilia to hide in the carriage. It was enough for them to be here. But how could Lilia sit still and wait for death, shouting in dragon language, lizard people? We have no harm, we just want to leave here now. Regardless of whether you have malicious intentions or not, the moment you step into this place, you are regarded as our enemy, human beings. Cled, the leader of the Blade-Tooth tribe, pushed away the lizard man in front of him and walked into Green's line of sight. Oh, gosh, this lizard man has mutated. Be careful, this lizard man puts a lot of pressure on me. What a strong lizard man, Lord Knight, do you have the confidence to defeat him? Don't be afraid, the glory of the goddess has already arrived here, and we are under the protection of the goddess. Seeing that the knights were a little scared, Green quickly raised his sword and shouted, hoping to cheer up people. Green turned to Lilith and said, Miss Lilia, hide. Don't expect to reason with these monsters. Green, who has experience fighting monsters, knows monsters very well. I know, you should be careful. Lilia held up the hem of her skirt and quickly boarded the carriage. The knight driving the carriage was ready to break out of the encirclement at any time. Leader, I saw my leader coming. The lizard man team immediately returned to the main force. Now, there is no need to talk to humans anymore, just do it directly. Cled held the heavy club in his hand and shouted, charge. Tear them apart, for the Blade-Tooth tribe. Long live the master, we are the clan of dragons. The lizard people couldn't hold it any longer. One by one, they were like arrows shooting towards the knights of the Church of Glory, waving their wooden clubs and spears. He kept shouting exciting words. Trapped in a circle surrounded by lizard men, the knights immediately tried to use their mounts to forcefully break out of the way. But the encirclement was too small, and there was no way for the horse to charge. In addition, the lizard man is tall. The power of the war horse alone is really unable to break away the lizard man's encirclement. All knights, follow me to break out. Help Miss Lilia break out first. Green bore the brunt. With his legs clamped on the horse's back, the horse underneath him immediately knew what his master meant. The horse's hooves stepped on the ground, splashing out sand. The whole war horse leapt high holding Green. Upon seeing this, the lizard warrior wanted to jump up, grab the war horse, and pull Green off the top. But it's too late. Bang! just when the warhorse was about to land and trample on a lizard man. The red and green figures suddenly collided, and Green, who was riding on horseback, was instantly knocked away. Leave first. Have you asked me, human? The one who knocked Green away was Kled, who was flying and sprinting over. With his 3-meter strong body, he easily lifted the horse up and then fell heavily to the ground. The war horse neighed and spit out blood. The surrounding lizard men quickly started hammering at the war horses randomly. A living war horse, under the siege of the lizard men, was directly smashed into meat patties by wooden sticks. Lord Knight, go to hell, humans. When some knights saw Green being knocked away, they wanted to step forward to help, but were stopped by other lizard men. I have to say that the lizard people are really strong. Especially when paired with this sophisticated armor, it greatly enhances the lizard man's combat power. Green, who rolled to the ground and stopped, could no longer care about his painful internal organs. He stood up with a painful expression and said, "I'm fine. Protect Miss Lilia." After giving instructions to the knights, Green held the sword in both hands and stared at Green closely. The other lizard men who wanted to attack him were stopped by Kled. This is a battle between bosses and bosses. Kled didn't want other lizard folk to get involved. The strength is good. Human beings, if it were others, they would not be able to stand up long ago. Kled knows Common. After undergoing the dragon transformation ceremony, he mastered Common language. You, lizard people, do you know who you are attacking? Hearing the Common language spoken by Kled, Green was stunned for a moment and then couldn't help but question. Oh, then I have to ask you a question. Do you know whose territory you have stepped into? Kled asked playfully. You, the lizard people, you will pay for this. Green knew that communicating with the lizard man in front of him was useless. Then let the sword speak. The pale golden fighting spirit surrounded Green, strengthening his physique, and his momentum continued to rise. Seeing this, Kled stopped playing around and became more serious. At the same time, inside the carriage, listening to the sound of fighting coming from outside the carriage, Lilia covered her ears and closed her eyes in fear. Her delicate body trembled. She is afraid of death. I am just a girl who is lucky enough to be accepted as a student by Saintess. I have never seen such a scene before. She was really scared. It was as if his soul was trembling with fear. Lilia didn't even have the courage to open the curtain and look outside. Are you shaking? Why are you afraid that your companions will die? Or, daughter, are you afraid that you will die? A strange voice suddenly sounded inside the carriage. This voice was deep and thick, and it still spoke dragon language. It was obviously not the voice of the knights. Lilith was shocked, and cold sweat broke out from her body instantly. He twisted his neck stiffly. I saw a red baby dragon appearing behind me at some point. The young dragon's body is covered with dark red scales, with a faint red light glowing in the gaps between the scales, as if magma is flowing between the lava. A pair of horrified dragon eyes stared at each other the moment she turned around. This moment, his soul seemed to have been deprived by a giant dragon, and his mind went blank. At this moment, Lilia no longer knew what to think, her eyes were blank, and she was dumbfounded. Like a dead person. Roar, boom, the wooden carriage exploded with a bang. A young dragon nearly 4 meters long soared into the air. On his long and thick tail was a young girl with a pale face. Miss Lilia, why is there a dragon here? The young dragon's leap into the air and roaring roar attracted the attention of everyone in the audience. Sizerton time became the center of attention. The appearance of the dragon. The knights were caught off guard. They stared up at the sky with their mouths open. When did this giant dragon appear here, and when did it get into Miss Lilia's carriage? Doubts swirled in the minds of the knights. The lizard people took advantage of the knights' distraction and took the opportunity to attack. Many knights who failed to react died on the spot. Help! Save me! Save me! Green Knight. Tears burst into Lilia's eyes as her hands and waist were restrained by Nishizawa's tail. He panicked and called for help to Green on the ground. Get him, Kled, Caesar said. No problem, my master. Kled is much stronger than Green. No need for too much fighting. He quickly captured Green, pinned him to the ground, and removed his armor and weapons. After losing his equipment, Green's combat effectiveness dropped significantly. Saw the knight captain being captured. The remaining knights lost their fighting spirit one by one. Eventually they were all captured by the lizardmen. Seeing the Green Knight, the only hope, being pinned to the ground and being rubbed by Cled, Lilia's face turned pale and she completely lost hope of living. Although I don't know why the dragon appears here, don't forget that the dragon's favorite food is human girls and elves. Lead the lizardmen to hunt down the Knights of the Church of Radiance and obtain 150 evil points. Closing square bracket. Capture the Knights of the Church of Radiance and the Saintess students and get 500 evil points. Closing square bracket. Just like that, the evil points awarded by the system were much more than the days when Caesar stayed in the cave. Black Swamp. The Knights were kidnapped and taken to the lair. This battle, 12 of the 60 lizardfolk warriors died and 30 were wounded. 32 Knights of the Church of Radiance died and 18 were captured. Caesar was quite satisfied with this casualty ratio. This is the Blade-Tooth tribe's first conflict battle with humans, and it's already a good result to achieve this result. Of course, what satisfied Caesar the most was Lilia, who was crying in front of him at this moment. Lilia, who had never seen this kind of world, was really frightened. Name: Lilia Bacon. Race: human. Faction: medium lawful neutral. Level: rank 2 priest. Life: 50. Strength: 5. Defense: 10. Equipment: white robe of the Church of Radiance, first ring magic fireball scroll, second ring magic wind wall scroll, 3 ring magic fiery explosion art scroll. Magic value: 500. Ability: natural priest. Magic: healing, soothing, disturbing the undead. Closing square bracket. Lilia's statistics are very ordinary, typical of the 5th scum in combat. What makes Nishizawa a little bit interested is that Lilia has a lot of magic points. A mere rank 2 can have 500 magic points. These 500 have already surpassed Cled, the dragon-turned-lizard man. Furthermore, the average rank 2 priest should only have 300 magic points. Lilia's magic value has exceeded the standard. The magic she learned was all about healing and destroying undead creatures. There is no damage magic to ordinary creatures. It can be said to be a real assistant without any harm. Honored, noble dragon, please let us go, okay. Lilia didn't speak when she saw the giant dragon. Swallowing, he mustered up the courage to speak out his request. It is said that what the dragon likes most is other people's compliments. So when Lilia opened her mouth, she called Caesar a noble dragon. Let you go. Why should I let you go? Caesar closed Lilia's data and focused on Lilia again. There is no conflict between us, Lord Dragon. All of this is just a misunderstanding. Lilia said. At first they just wanted to come to the Black Swamp to kill the ghouls. Then after learning that the ghouls have been eliminated and this is the territory of the lizardmen, she didn't hesitate to take everyone on a detour. Who could have imagined that it would eventually turn into a battle and the giant dragon Nishizawa would appear? Although Nishizawa is only a young dragon, his power is far more powerful than that of a young dragon. He was able to conquer this lizard man tribe when he was still a young dragon. I can't believe how powerful this baby dragon will be when it grows up. Misunderstanding. I don't think there is any misunderstanding. Human, what is your name? Nishizawa asked knowingly. My name is Lilia Bacon, Lord Dragon, you can just call me Lilia. Lilia lowered her head lonely. It seemed that the dragon had no intention of letting them go. Are you really going to die here today? How so? My great youth has not yet begun. If she had known that this would happen, how could she take the initiative to take on the responsibility of exterminating the ghouls? There is also a big problem with the Radiant Church's intelligence network. A young red dragon was in the Casa forest, but there was no news at all. Lilia, a good name. Looking at Lilia's beautiful face and graceful figure, an idea came to Caesar's mind. Even though he is just a young dragon, how is the dragon's body the same as a human's? In addition, he has the soul of a human in his previous life. He is no different from an adult at this moment. Thank you for your compliment. Lilia was stunned. It seems like this is a little different from the red dragon, the teacher said. Isn't it said that the red dragon is the embodiment of evil and violence? It is also said that what evil dragons like to eat most is beautiful young human girls. But now she feels that the Lord Dragon in front of her is pretty good. At least he didn't talk about wanting to eat him, and he even had a friendly exchange with himself. Maybe she still had a chance to survive. Are you members of the human church? Caesar asked. Yes, we are people from the Church of Radiance. I am a student of Master Saintess, and they are the knights who protect me. Lilia took this opportunity to reveal her identity. Especially when talking about the Saintess students of the glorious church, his tone was a little more intense. Caesar couldn't tell her little thoughts. The knights who protect you, they killed 12 of my lizard warriors. You know, I only have 60 clan warriors now. What do you think we should do? Caesar chuckled. There was no trace of distress on his face. Your Majesty Dragon, this. All right. Lilia retracted her previous thoughts. Dragons are indeed despicable and evil guys. What does it mean that the knight who was guarding me killed your lizard warrior? It was obviously you who led the lizardman tribe to attack them. Originally, she planned to leave with the knight to avoid this conflict. The teacher is right. There is no good dragon among the 5-colored dragons. They are all heinous villains. As the Church of Radiance strong in the human world, Caesar has never understood the role of the Church of Radiance in the human world. Even less aware of the world outside Casa Forest and Melee Town. He is still young, so he can only hold it here temporarily. Not much understanding of the outside world. I was about to catch a Lilith today and I can get some information from her mouth. Of course, the Church of Glory is the church that His Majesty the Avicen Empire believes in. It is the state religion of the empire, and it even has a legendary mage. Lilia quickly introduced the power of the Glory Church. Legend. This is the highest respect title for a profession in the human world. The 10-ring magic mastered by the legendary mage can cause a natural disaster with one strike. Even an adult dragon has to give some face when meeting a legend among humans. Of course, if you piss off the dragon won't mind fighting you. The despicable green dragon will even keep staring at its enemy until the enemy is old and close to death, then he will show up to take revenge. After all, even if humans enter legend, they are still humans, and their lifespan cannot be compared to dragons. The dragon can attack you when you are old and unable to walk. There is one thing to say. You humans have legends who have reached the top, and of course there are some on the dragon side too. The legendary dragon. However, with the potential of the 5-color dragon and the metal dragon, it is impossible to reach the legendary dragon. But Caesar has a system, so changing his bloodline is not easy. Legendary mage. It's really powerful. Can you let me see now how powerful the legendary mage you call it is? Quote. Facing Caesar's words, Lilia didn't know whether he meant it or not. If the legendary mage could really call him, would he still need to be so afraid of this young dragon? I think before we have a friendly exchange, shouldn't you take off the things you have on you? For example, the scroll. Caesar saw that Lilia couldn't talk to him. So I changed the topic. Releasing magic requires chanting incantations, which is very time-consuming. In the face of sudden battles, it often fails to function. Ever since, the scroll was studied by humans. Humans discovered that scrolls could be made from special magical materials. Then store the magic you want to release into the scroll in advance. In this way, you can use the scroll to release magic as soon as you encounter danger, saving the time of chanting. The only drawback of the scroll is that it cannot withstand too strong magic. For example, if you want to withstand the magic of the legendary mage, you need to use the rarest magic materials in the world, one of which is the stomach of an adult dragon. Therefore, it is impossible for everyone to carry the magic scroll of the legendary mage. All the scrolls on me are here. Lilia handed over the scroll without hesitation. The scrolls he carries are basically fire attack magic. But what she met was a red dragon. For this giant dragon that is immune to fire attacks, what's the use of the scroll she carries? Since the other party found the scroll on her body, it's better to hand it over to show your kindness. Even now, Lilia still has a glimmer of hope that the dragon will let her go. Caesar looked at the obedient Lilia and smiled. Lilia, you did a great job. Lord Dragon, can you let me and the knights live? I swear in the name of glory that as long as you let us go, we will never seek revenge. Lilia longed to live. Her life has just begun. There are also those knights. Except for the Green Knight, the other knights have just been awarded knighthoods by the church. They are also very young. How could it end here? Caesar came to Lilia, swept the dragon's tail, and all the scrolls on the ground were taken into the space. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and the body of the young dragon put a lot of pressure on Lilia. Although Nishizawa is only less than 4 meters long at the moment, he is still a giant compared to humans. Normal young dragons cannot grow to Nishizawa's size. Perhaps because of the alien dragon, his size is larger than that of the red dragon of the same age. Lilia, tell me, do you want to live with these knights? Caesar said softly. Think. Lilia's beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. The hope of life is here. The red dragon is still not that bad. Can you understand what I want? Caesar's claws touched the hem of Lilia's skirt. With just one scratch of the sharp hook, the fragile skirt was torn open. In an instant, Lilia's delicate body trembled, and she suddenly thought of an extremely terrifying thing. No, no way, we'll die. Although he is only a young dragon, this is definitely not something he can bear. Lilia, the group of knights outside look very scared. I wonder what their parents will look like if they know the fate of their children who were killed in battle. Caesar's words painted a scene in Lilia's mind. When the parents learned that their children were dead, they fell to the ground in grief, but they couldn't even see their children's bones. How painful and helpless this must be. Dragon, Your Majesty Dragon, you can't do this, you can't kill them. Lilia knelt on the ground, tears of pain streaming from her eyes, praying for Caesar's mercy. Seeing that Lilia's psychological defense was about to be broken, Caesar decided to take a strong dose. I remember there was a human village behind the Black Swamp, right? No, Lord Dragon, I am willing, snapped. Lilia hugged Caesar's paw, her face turned pale. She has already dragged down the knights, and she must not drag down everyone in the village again. It was obviously to help everyone eliminate the influence of ghouls, but in the end it brought disaster to everyone. This is not the future Lilia wants to see. As a student of Saintess, Lilia's morality constantly condemns herself. Are you willing? What are you willing to do? Nishizawa plays with taste. Lilia knew that it was useless to say anything, only actions could impress the dragon. Outside the dragon's lair, Green was tied to a wooden stake by thick vines and could not move. Let Miss Lilia go. Even if he is clawed by a monster, the person Green worries about will always be Lilia. The church gave Miss Lilia into its own hands. But he failed the church. Dear Goddess of Glory, please forgive me for my dereliction of duty. I am not capable enough to protect Miss Lilia. My soul is not worthy of entering your kingdom. You'd better hope the master doesn't eat her. Cled sat in front of Green, holding a large piece of fresh meat in hand. Spit it out, spit it out. Seeing the piece of meat in Cled's hand, the Tide Green became crazy. Because the meat Cled was eating right now was clearly the meat of his dead comrade. The other trainee knights, who had never seen this kind of world, were frightened out of their wits. Spit it out. Why spit it out? It would be a shame to spit out such delicious meat. A cruel smile appeared on the corner of Cled's blood-stained mouth. Human meat is a rare delicacy for monsters. You'd better pray that I die here. Otherwise, or I will chop off your head sooner or later. Green veins popped up on Green's forehead, and he looked at Cled with angry eyes. Cled smiled disdainfully and said, then it depends on the master's mood. If his master hadn't told him not to kill these humans, Green would have been killed by Cled. It's impossible to survive until now. No matter what the master wants to do, as long as it is the master's order, the Blade-Tooth tribe will obey it. Even if they were asked to commit suicide on the spot, they would not hesitate. Owner. The mind that was overwhelmed by anger suddenly calmed down a lot. Only then did Green remember something more important. There is a dragon in the Casa Forest. Still a red dragon cub. What are those officers and church people in Melee Town doing? Why don't you even know such important news? If this young dragon hadn't given the lizard man the dragon transformation ritual, he believed that he would definitely be able to lead the knights to break out. Time passed little by little. Night time has come. Humiliate and defile Saintess disciples, gain 1500 evil points. Closing square bracket. Finally got it all. 10 companies. This is the correct way to play the system. Caesar instantly opened up a new way of thinking. My previous ideas of obtaining evil points were too stupid. If he had done this earlier, wouldn't he have gathered all 10 companies long ago? Why do you need so much effort? Name: Caesar Fafnir Leyden Nidhogg. Race: Red Dragon. Faction: Chaotic Evil. Life: 600. Strength: 20. Defense: 30. Equipment: Goddess Transparent Fatty. Magic value: 1100. Ability: Fire Breath, Bite, Fire Damage Immunity, 12 Talismans. Magic: Fire Elemental Summoning. Evil points: 3100. There were so many evil points. In order to collect the 10 companies, Shizawa resisted the temptation of attribute points and saved up so many. 10 companies need to consume 2600 evil points. It's more than enough. He looked back at Lilia, who was lying in her lair and had already turned into a cream puff. Caesar closed his eyes. Next moment, his consciousness came under the starry sky again. 10 companies. Activate. Ding. The stars surged. Countless stars flashed above Caesar's head, and colorful lights began to fall towards Caesar. Zeiss, who had experienced 10 battles once, knew that these starlights would not harm him. Standing there quietly waiting for the reward to arrive. Congratulations to the host for winning a green item, a box of all-purpose bandages. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for winning the white item, a pack of napkins. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for drawing blue items and 50 enchanted weapons. Closing square bracket. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for winning the purple item, your talent is amazing. Closing square bracket. Congratulations to the host for winning the golden item and destroying the blood of the Nergigante dragon. Closing square bracket. Ding. The bloodline of the detection host's red dragon conflicts with the bloodline of the annihilation dragon, and the two bloodlines begin to merge. Congratulations on the advancement of the host's bloodline. The world-destroying crimson dragon. Closing square bracket. Withdrawal. Caesar found that his luck was quite good. According to the rules of the system, Shillian will not withdraw money stably. But he has withdrawn gold twice in a row. Doesn't this mean that he is very lucky? Luck is worth a lot of money. Caesar didn't have time to look at other rewards for the time being, so he focused directly on his own bloodline, the world-destroying Crimson Dragon. It is the bloodline after the fusion and advancement of the bloodline of the Red Dragon and the bloodline of the Annihilation Dragon. The Nergigante is a special individual from another world, possessing super regenerative abilities and an extremely powerful physique, able to grow thorns through constant regeneration. These thorns transformed from scales can not only better protect the dragon, but can also shoot out the thorns like arrows at critical moments, causing a devastating blow to the enemy. The Annihilator can be said to be the hunter among giant dragons. Single quote. They eat everything, including ancient dragons. Unlike other dragons that use breath, they rely entirely on their powerful bodies to hunt. It has the characteristic of getting stronger with each battle, coupled with the red dragon's already powerful physique. Now even Nishizawa in his childhood has been greatly improved, far superior to similar products. Name: Caesar Fafnir Leyden Nidhogg. Race: world-destroying Crimson Dragon. Faction: Chaotic Evil. Life: 1200. Strength: 100. Defense: 200. Equipment: Goddess Transparent Fatty. Magic value: 1200. Ability: Breath of Fire, Bite, Fire Damage Immunity, 12 Talismans, Magical Craftsmanship. Magic: Fire Elemental Summoning. Evil points: 500. Integrated with the bloodline of the Annihilator Dragon, Nishizawa's attack and defense now skyrocketed. Although it is still impossible to compete with the young dragon in its infancy. But it is more than enough to deal with a young dragon. If you add the power of the 12 talismans, even a young dragon is no problem. As his bloodline advanced to the world-destroying Crimson Dragon, Nishizawa's appearance changed drastically. The scales on the body turned deep red, which is the color only adult red dragons have. The originally relatively slender dragon horn on the top of his head became huge and heavy. It's like wearing an obsidian crown. Inverted thorns sprouted from the spine on his back, extending all the way to the tip of his tail. The body size increased from nearly 4 meters to an astonishing 10 meters. Fortunately, the nest dug by the lizards for him was large enough, otherwise the nest wouldn't be big enough for him to live in. Thorns also grow on the bones connected to the dragon wings, which can better protect the dragon wings from being destroyed. Caesar felt like he was about to take off. Annihilator has the characteristics of regeneration and getting stronger with each battle. As long as he doesn't die, the next regeneration and evolution can make him stronger. Not a coincidence. He also has a dog charm in his hand that guarantees his immortality. Plus the horse charm comes with self-healing and regeneration. Now Nishizawa can completely make himself stronger through fighting. His immortality greatly protects his ability to survive. Even if the magic value is exhausted later, the power of the dog spell can no longer be used. The regenerative properties of the Annihilator can still protect him from death. Looking at the remaining 500 evil points, Nishizawa added them all to the magic points. The other data are blessed with spell abilities, so he doesn't have to worry about being weak at all. Only the magic value is his foundation. After all, if the magic value is empty, the spell will lose its effect. After studying his bloodline, Caesar looked at the reward for another purple item, which was a talent called Ghostly Craftsmanship. Supernatural Craftsmanship. Your skills have been greatly improved, just like the work of ghosts and gods. Closing square bracket. At first glance, this talent has no effect on Caesar. In fact, it has a great effect. Don't forget, what is causing some distress to Caesar now is that there are too few lizardmen in the Blade-Tooth tribe. Even if the goblins with little fighting ability are included, the number that the entire clan can fight does not exceed 100. Among the 12 talismans, the rat talisman has the function of giving static energy. Simply put, you can give life to dead things. A dead object that has been given life is equivalent to a brand new life after becoming a living thing, with its own thinking ability. The only drawback is that dead objects given life will not obey the spellcaster. In addition, the stronger the dead object that gives life to it, the more magic is consumed. Of course, it was impossible for Caesar to create a dead thing that could destroy heaven and earth right now, and he couldn't afford to waste his magic power. Furthermore, even if it is created, it may not necessarily follow your own words. If you want to create a powerful and obedient subordinate, you also need to write a good story to make this character come alive. Caesar doesn't have that much time, and he doesn't have that much magic value. It's better to use the uncanny ability to carve out a group of lizardmen now. The carved lizard people, Shizawa has the confidence to conquer them. The next day, Lilia tremblingly supported the wall, looking at the changes in the giant dragon in front of her in surprise. In just one night, this giant dragon had undergone earth-shaking changes. The most obvious thing is the heavy dragon horn on the top of the dragon's head and its huge size. Giant dragon, Mr. Giant Dragon, how did you become like this? Lilia couldn't even tell if this was yesterday's dragon. In case not, didn't she serve the dragon in vain? Perhaps this is the nourishment of love, beautiful Miss Lilia. Caesar opened his eyes. Noticing the tear in Lilia's body, he extended his claws thoughtfully. Hearing Caesar's words, Lilia blushed. Can love still allow the dragon to evolve? Immediately afterwards, a warm feeling emerged from the body, and in an instant, the fatigue and pain left by yesterday disappeared. Caesar's horse charm worked, helped Lilia return to her physical peak. Less than 10 points of Caesar's magic points were consumed. Thank you, Mr. Dragon. Lilia noticed the changes in her body, coupled with the emerald green energy flowing to her from the dragon's claws. She could understand that this was Caesar's treatment for herself. Lord Julong is still very friendly. Hearing Lilia's thanks, Caesar looked strange. This human girl must be too innocent. Did you see that she even thanked us? He completely forgot that he would become like this, and it was inseparable from Caesar. Caesar retracted his claws and said, "You're welcome, Lilia, we are mutually beneficial." Without Lilia, he wouldn't have been able to gain evil points so quickly and draw something to enhance his strength. Then Mr. Dragon, can you let the village and the knights go? Lilia now no longer thinks about whether she will survive. Her body was defiled by the dragon. Has lost the position of successor teacher saintess. At this moment, she just wants to play her last role, let everyone to survive, and then, commit suicide. I hope that the goddess above can forgive me for my unclean body. Although her body was defiled by the dragon, her soul remained pure. Of course, no problem. As we all know, dragons keep their promises the best. Caesar chuckled. Great, thank you, goddess of glory, thank you for your blessing. Lilia folded her hands excitedly and prayed to the so-called goddess of radiance. Caesar smiled and said nothing. After Lilia prayed, she calmed down her excitement and said, "Let's go out. I wonder what happened to the Green Knight and the other knights. Hope they are okay." "No problem, outside." Caesar walked out with his grown-up body, immediately attracting the attention of everyone present. "Oh, is this our master? It's unbelievable. Master has grown up in one night. Should our master be eaten?" "Shut up. This is our master, and it tastes exactly the same." Although Nishizawa advanced to the world-destroying Crimson Dragon, the aura on his body will not change. The aura of each creature is unique and will not change as you evolve. Unless you advance to become a god and break away from the mortal body. Otherwise this breath will follow you for a lifetime. If the aura hadn't changed, the lizard people would have been so frightened that they would have picked up their weapons to defend themselves. "Master, how did you become like this?" Kled immediately climbed out of the cave when he heard the noise. When he saw Nishizawa's new look, he was stunned. "Oh my god, what a powerful dragon this is. I can't believe how powerful my master will be when he grows up. When you have some adventures, just think of it as a miracle." Caesar didn't explain much. There happens to be a dragon queen named Tiamat above the head of the five-color dragon. This so-called mother of five-color dragons would often send down her own miracles to bless the children she favored. Help children advance to become gods. That's it. Kled was convinced. Gods are real in this continent. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many divine churches. Even monsters have their own beliefs. "Green Knight, are you okay?" The other side. Seeing the knights tied to the stakes and dying, Lilia ran forward anxiously and said worriedly, "The lives of these knights are like weak candles in the strong wind, which will be extinguished if they are not careful." You are Miss Lilia." The depressed Green Knight immediately cheered up after hearing Lilia's voice. He raised his head and looked at Lilia in disbelief. "I thought that Lilia was taken to the lair by the giant dragon, and most likely she was eaten by the baby dragon." Unexpectedly, Lilia was still alive. As expected of a student of Lord Saintess, blessed by the goddess of radiance. "It's me, Green Knight, I'm sorry, it's me, I'm the one who caused everyone to end up like this." Lilia lowered her head guiltily and complained to herself. Without her taking the initiative to eliminate the ghouls, their team would never have broken into the dragon's territory. "No, I don't blame you, Miss Lilia. It's because we were too weak and failed to protect you." Green shook his head. As a knight, it is his responsibility to protect Miss Lilia. Now that everyone has been arrested, he has no idea of blaming Lilia, only blaming his own poor strength. If it were the Dragon Knight in the church, he could definitely defeat this young dragon easily and protect Miss Lilia from harm. "Stop talking, Green Knight, I will treat you right away, and you can leave after I'm done." Lilia put her hands together on her chest. She was going to start casting spells to help Green and the other knights heal. "Lilia, what are you doing?" At this time, Caesar suddenly stretched out his paw, grabbed Lilia in his hand, lifted her high, and interrupted Lilia's spellcasting. "Your Majesty Dragon, I need to treat the Green Knight's injuries before letting them leave," Lilia exclaimed. When he turned around and found that Caesar had caught him, he relaxed a little and explained to Caesar. "Are you the dragon from yesterday? Let me go, Miss Lilia." Green was stunned at first, almost not recognizing that this was the young red dragon from yesterday. Why is the change so big? It had only been a day, and his appearance was completely different from that of the red dragon. Caesar ignored Green's words and said to Lilia, "Leave. When did I say they can leave?" Mr. Dragon, you can't break your promise. You clearly promised me yesterday that you would let them go." Lilia was scared. This giant dragon wouldn't break his promise. So wasn't what she did yesterday in vain? This is my first time breaking your word. Ha ha ha. Caesar laughed first, then said, "I only said let them live, I didn't say let them go." "Lilia, did you misunderstand me?" Lilia was stunned. It seems like what the dragon said is true. From the beginning to the end, Caesar never said he would let Green and the others go. He just said not to kill Green and the others, but he didn't mean to let them go. But this is not what I mean. What she meant was to let Green and the others go and let them return to the church. If you stay here, even if you are alive now, you will die sooner or later. The ferocious monster looked at Green and the others as terrifyingly as if they were looking at food. Miss Lilia, please don't believe what the evil dragon says. Green didn't know what deal Caesar made with Lilia. Let the dragon not kill them. But whatever the deal is, he had to let Miss Lilia understand. Evil dragons are a group of treacherous and evil creatures, and breaking one's word is their motto. Listening to Green's words in her ears, Lilia didn't know what to say. Feel sorry, Green Knight, I can't go back. The body has already become the shape of a giant dragon. Great dragon, please tell me how you can let them go. Lilia raised her head and said with sadness and anger on her face. She was fooled. This giant dragon clearly understood what he meant. At this moment, I have to play word games with myself. Let the kind and innocent human girl Lilia feel the danger of the dragon and get 100 evil points. Closing square bracket. Let them go. Caesar grabbed Lilia and leaned in front of his mouth and said, what do you think? My dear, Lilia. If it still happened yesterday, then I'll come. Come on anyway. Lilia broke the jar. Anyway, the body has been defiled once, and there is no difference between it once and twice. Might as well play your final role. In short, when Green and the others were able to relieve themselves, he would immediately commit suicide and confess to the goddess with his purest soul. No, you seem to have made a mistake. Lilia, do you think your body is important to me? Isn't it? Caesar's rhetorical question made Lilia, who was about to sacrifice her body again, at a loss. Yesterday's dragon relied on the knights and everyone in the village to threaten him. Without both, Lilia would commit suicide without hesitation. Even if she is afraid of death. For the sake of their beliefs, they will choose to commit suicide. But now the dragon's words made her a little confused. You are so stupid and naive, Lilia. In fact, your body is not important to me. I can abandon your body at any time. After all, tasting some things once is enough. This is what Caesar is thinking. He didn't have the slightest emotion for Lilia. Now he is keeping Lilia to continue playing around without killing her, just to extract more evil points. Who would have feelings for a private RBQ? We can talk about the future later, at least not now. Lilia's pretty face turned pale. If even she loses the dragon's interest, then what should she do to protect everyone? Don't be afraid, Lilia, how about we play a game? This is not the place for chatting. Caesar took Lilia back to the lair again. Just let her know that the knights are not dead, so that it can leave some hope for Lilia. Don't believe what the evil dragon says. Miss Lilia. Fearing that Miss Lilia would be deceived by the evil dragon, Green shouted with all his strength. Shut up. Bang. Cled immediately stepped forward and punched Green in the stomach. The beating made Green retching. Dragon's nest. What game do you want to play with me? Lilia asked. I know what you're thinking, Lilia. You want me to let them go and let them go back to where they belong. It's very simple. Play a game, and I'll send them away after the game. Nishizawa sat in his position, looking down at Lilia. Game. Let us first agree, Mr. Dragon, that after playing the game, we must let them go, and let them leave here alive. Lilia is smarter this time. To prevent Caesar from playing word games with himself again. I also added some details in detail. No problem. Facing Lilia's request, Caesar nodded and said there was no problem. Come on then, Lord Dragon. Lilia took a deep breath. There is no problem with language expression. The dragon should no longer be able to cheat with wordplay. Lilia knew that with Zaiza's power, he could break his promise at any time, and there was nothing she could do against him. But now Lilia has no choice. If she wants to lead everyone to survive, she must agree to play with Caesar. The rules of the game are very simple. There is a road opened by humans on the left side of Casa Forest. Human adventurers and small caravans often pass by. I need you to play the role of a wounded girl and attract people to come to me, no matter who they attract. Anyone, male or female, old or young, can do it. As long as you pretend to be injured to lure me in front of me, I can let your knights go. The corners of Caesar's mouth raised slightly. Impossible. Lilia subconsciously refused. Attracting people to the dragon is not driving people towards their death. As a student of Lady Saintess, she must not do this kind of behavior. Not only will the body become dirty, but the soul will no longer be pure. That's a pity. It seems like Lilia, you have to say goodbye to the knights. Nishizawa pretended to be sorry. No, no, Lord Dragon, you promised me not to kill them. Lilia said hurriedly. Even if you don't agree with the game, at least you must fulfill your previous promise and not kill Green and the others. Yes, I promised you not to kill them, but I can't control the lizard people. If they want to kill the knights. Everything Caesar said and did was full of naked threats. Despicable, despicable. Lilia was so angry that she couldn't help but curse. I have never seen such a despicable dragon. Even the dragon in the book does not reach the level of shamelessness of Nishizawa. What do you mean you can't control the lizard people? You are the master of the lizardmen. If I can't control you, why would I call you a master? Thank you for your compliment, Lilia. Zizatian accepted this praise shamelessly. Lilia's chest heaved with anger. Seeing this made Shizawa feel a little more appetitive again. What he wants to do is to induce Lilia to fall step by step. If you let a pure soul fall, you must gain more evil points. On one side is the knight who is full of guilt, and on the other side is the innocent stranger who he does not know. Lilia couldn't decide. Being too kind doesn't seem to be a good thing. If it were other ordinary people, they would definitely sacrifice the lives of strangers without hesitation. Where strangers have friends and relatives is important. When Lilia was fighting between heaven and man, Caesar, the instigator, was calm and unhurried. He grabbed a nearby stone of about the same height and started carving it with his claws. The dragon's sharp and hard claws are the best carving tools. After a while, Your Majesty Dragon, please allow me to ask, will the human being brought to you, will die? Lilia asked fancifully. Maybe this is just the dragon's bad taste. Are you kidding me? Lilia, what do you think? Caesar smiled and showed off his sharp teeth. It foreshadows the fate of mankind brought before him. A dead end. ... Lilia lowered her head silently. It means, she must choose between the two lives. Goddess of glory, why should I suffer so much pain? If possible, she really wanted to sacrifice herself to exchange for the peace of both parties. Unfortunately, she couldn't do it. I don't have this ability. Scenes of the Green Knight fighting monsters to protect her gradually came to mind. This is not the first time Green Knight has defended himself. Every time, it was Green Knight who protected her from harm and reached her destination safely. This time, let me protect you, Green Knight. Lilia slowly opened her eyes, and there was a slight change in her at this moment. His eyes were no longer as pure as before, but had a hint of determination. It seems you have decided. Nishizawa's carving has just finished. What a perfect piece of art. Even without using the power of the rat talisman, the lizard man he carved was still lifelike. If it weren't for standing motionless like this, others might mistake the stone sculpture for a real lizard man. Dragon, I hope you can keep your promise this time, otherwise I will never let you go in this life. Lilia's beautiful eyes were filled with anger. She hated this giant dragon. Allow yourself to make such a difficult choice. Now even her soul has become filthy and corrupt. After death, one is not accepted into the kingdom of God. But as long as the knights can survive, Lilia is willing to do it. This is what I owe them. Ha ha ha, please rest assured, Lilia, as we all know, I, Caesar Fafnir Radon Nidhogg, keep my promises the most. Ha ha, it's best this way. Then it's time for the two of us to do things. What are you going to do? Didn't you say you don't value my body very much? But it's very moist, I like it very much. ... The next day, Caesar set off with Lilia. We came to the Great Dao on the far left side of Casa Forest. Humans often appear here, so basically no monsters will appear here, only some passing beasts. Caesar grabbed Lilia and landed behind a nearby tree. The rest will depend on your performance. Lilia, don't let me down, you only have one day. If you can't deceive the humans, I will ask Cled to execute the knights, do you understand? Caesar doesn't have that much patience. In order for Lilia to fall, she must be given a sense of time urgency and oppression. I understand, you don't need to say more. Lilia didn't want to stay with Caesar for a moment longer. Angrily, he turned towards the road. Nishizawa smiled and said nothing. Who took the initiative after getting better yesterday? Immediately afterwards, Caesar's figure began to fade, and he used the snake charm to disappear into the jungle. His current size is very large. Unless he uses the reduction technique, not even a blind person can see such a large dragon here. The shrinking spell is a bit troublesome, but using the snake charm is just right. On the road, after taking this step, Lilia was still a little confused. Want to turn back? Although turning back can't save the knights, it can save strangers who haven't met yet. Do you really want Green and the others to die like this? Lilia stopped under a tree on the side of the road, angels and demons fighting fiercely in her mind. Everyone started debating with their own ideas. Time passed little by little. The midday sun is particularly harsh. Fortunately, it was easy to enjoy the shade under the big tree, so Lilia was able to avoid the sun's scorching heat. But the surrounding temperature still made her sweat. Nishizawa, who was hiding behind him, was enjoying the sunbathing. The hotter the temperature, the better he likes it. Rumble. At this time, the sound of a carriage driving came from afar, instantly attracting Yilong's attention. Coming, Lilia put her hand on her chest, her heart beating violently for some reason. So fast, his breathing became much faster. From a distance, he really looks like a person who is unwell. The people on the carriage seemed to have noticed Lilia, and the speed of driving the carriage was obviously much slower. He soon stopped in front of Lilia. As soon as the carriage stopped, Caesar could smell the smell of blood. This group of people was not simple. There should be corpses in the carriage. Otherwise the smell of blood wouldn't be so strong. Interesting. The mantis stalks the cicada while the oriole follows behind. What a cute little sister, what are you doing here alone? The driver was a big, strong man. He deliberately stopped the carriage in front of Lilia, with a malicious expression on his face. That aggressive look made Lilia feel uncomfortable. At the same time, Lilia also noticed a strong fishy smell. As a healing priest, she had a lot of dealings with the dead. This is obviously the breath of the dead. Why are there dead people on the carriage? Hey, Kefu, why did you stop? Do you know there are still bodies in the car that haven't been disposed of yet? At the same time, the carriage curtain opened. A desperado covered in blood walked out. Dissatisfaction was written on his face. The moment the curtain opened, Lilia accidentally saw the scene in the carriage. 2 corpses fell into a pool of blood, which made her eyes tremble. Look, Rafe, there is a little sister here. Kev laughed playfully. Little sister. Rafe looked at Lilia in confusion. When he saw Lilia's lovely face and beautiful figure, his eyes lit up. I am probably being watched by the god of luck today. First, he robbed a wave of money, and then met a delicate woman. You killed the people in the carriage, right? Lilia came back to her senses and asked. Did you see it? Tisk, 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 it seems I can't keep you. Raf's eyes instantly turned fierce. Raf, I think instead of that, why don't we capture her and sell her? Or we can get a good price. Kefu said greedily. What the two of them didn't notice was that Lilia's eyes became a little scary. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.